Jay Thomas Show. Sirius 108 and XM 139. This is the Jay Thomas Show. The interesting, the odd, and the bizarre people behind the, interesting. The odd and bizarre stories. Jay gets in it, stirs it up, and spits it out. He's a professional. It's all here on the Jay Thomas Show with Rodney Lee Conover, Julie, Madison, Kevin Meaney, Garrett and Christina, and Ira the Weatherman. This is the Jay Thomas Show.
How you doing? 888-4-102-102. The great Rodney Lee, It's a Mess Down There, Conover, is with us today, and something so exciting. He talked about it for weeks, and then yesterday, of course, it happened. Rodney, why don't you tell everybody what's the most exciting thing that's ever happened to you that happened yesterday?
Well, meeting Jennifer Aniston.
That's it. Yeah, that's how you're going to say it, just like that?
Mm-hmm. Just another day in my life, man.
There you go. Is that your telephone?
Just another day in the king's life.
So you go to the television show, Cougar Life.
There's a guy there that is like on my ass now. Don't connect me with this shit, man.
What do you mean?
Don't connect me with it.
Don't connect you with what?
With all the talk of it's a mess down there. So now I can't. But look, I met her.
Well, then don't say it's a mess down there.
I'll say it. It's a mess down there.
No,
I said it.
But you met Jennifer Aniston. That's the exciting part of it.
Exactly.
And so she was on the set of the television show with Courtney Cox.
Anyway.
What a great name that is.
You know what her daughter's name is?
Lick It Cox?
No. Coco.
Coco.
So you know what I said?
What?
I'm cuckoo for Coco Cox. Big laugh.
Oh, boy. You didn't say that to her face, did you?
Yes.
You did? Oh, okay.
Come on. A huge laugh.
They were nice. So Jennifer Aniston was doing a...
don't connect. I'm telling you, guys, I don't want to be connected. You know
something, Rodney? At this point, if he hasn't helped you more than he's helped you now, he's not going to help you any more than he hasn't helped you already.
Just cast me in 2 movies, so my dick.
Okay, it's too late. You can't get fired. So when you met her on the show, whatever it was, the movie,
you know what? If you ask me not to mention shit, guess what? I don't.
You never asked me not to mention anything.
I did just now.
Well, it's too late now.
Can't we just talk about what's important?
I've already put it on Facebook with the show. You told me to start using.
Nobody goes to your Facebook page,
and I put it on jthomas.com.
We know nobody does that.
Yeah. So you met her in person. Let's not say where you met her. Okay, you met her in person.
Thank you.
And you were introduced to her. And did the person that introduced you say, "This is a big fan"?
No, of course not. You don't want to act stupid around her.
Right, and
but I got down on my knees and started bowing.
How tall is she?
Pretty tall for a girl. Taller than average woman.
And taller than you?
No, I'm 5'9".
Okay, so she's about 5'9". And,
she's taller than you.
And you extended your hand, right? And she extended her hand.
Yeah.
And how many hands did you use to shake her hand?
I went up with the double hand.
The double handshake?
You go in with the right hand, the standard white person handshake.
Right. And that's the white person handshake? You don't... What, are you saying like that's some big sort of surprise that's how white people shake hands? I don't know.
Oh, I'm a racist because I said that, Jay?
No. I think it's funny that you call it the white man's handshake.
We all know what the white man's handshake is. Okay, you extend the hand and then you shake. Right. Now, the reason I don't do a black man's handshake is because I can't fucking keep up with them. Because they change every 5 months. That's right. I practice them. I try to get good at them. And then when I go to do them, I always fuck it up. So I just gave it up. So I went in there with a white man's handshake. Mm-hmm. She came in, white man's handshake. I went up with my left hand. You ever do this, the double one? And you get your left hand a little bit higher on the arm?
The hand sandwich.
Yes. But I went even higher.
Wait a minute. The hand sandwich is what you...
Yeah, it's one of the first episodes of Seinfeld.
Yeah, it's a Seinfeld hand sandwich.
You mean when he was funny before the dating? What's the one he's got on now? The marriage ref? Yeah. Yeah, but when Jerry was funny, yeah.
But Garrett, I did the hand sandwich, but my left hand went up actually into like a Reuben. It went up a little bit higher. You know what I mean?
You went into Philly cheesesteak.
Yes, I went for the cheesesteak, and so I could get actually up a little bit above the wrist into the forearm area. And
now,
may I say
she's
this?
Of Greek
may I say this? The back of the forearm action.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She is of Greek extraction. And you, of course, love and tell people. I mean, we make jokes about it, but you are a naturalist. In fact, we have a woman on today, that I booked just for you.
You did?
Yeah, the woman that's on in the 5 o'clock. Is she in the 5 o'clock hour, Garrett?
Yes.
Did you guys? Are the guests changed today? By the way.
Well, we had the person on from the marriage ref, the woman
I heard
the
talk
executive.
of that,
Yeah. She is canceled. I think maybe the show is not long for this world. It has lost.
You're talking about their show, right? Not ours?
The marriage ref, yeah.
Okay.
No, this show they're stuck with us for a while. But the marriage ref has been losing, how long? Has been on 3 weeks or 4 weeks?
I believe like 2.5, because they had a half episode right after the closing ceremonies.
They have lost, in 2 weeks, 40% of their audience.
And do they have a plum spot, Garrett? Do they have a nice lead-in?
They have Thursday NBC at 10.
Holy
after
shit.
After The Office, 30 Rock, Community, whatever.
They've lost 40% of their audience.
They got the best spot you could possibly get.
And for some reason, there have been a couple of reviews that have said, how could Jerry Seinfeld be a part of something so unfunny? I'll tell you what it is, and I'm just gonna step out.
Can I ask a question first?
Yeah, go ahead.
At what point did Jerry Seinfeld wake up and say to himself, I just don't have enough money. I need another show.
I listen. I totally agree with you. There's a certain point where you got.
How about giving some new people, a shot?
Well, I'm going to tell you what it is, because I looked. She's not coming on today, and they canceled, and we don't know why. And it has nothing to do with us. We haven't said anything about the show, and I probably wouldn't have. Maybe I would have said this. Who knows what I would have said? But his wife's name is in there as an executive producer. Jessica Rabbit Seinfeld.
Yeah.
And she's the one.
She thought it up.
Well, no, the marriage ref is a book.
Well, she read the idea of doing it as a TV show.
The story they go with, at least on the show, is Jerry and his wife are having an argument. His friend was there and got uncomfortable and was going to leave. And Jerry said, no, hold on, why don't you be the ref? And then the TV show just sprang out of that.
Well, really? You want to know the real story, Garrett?
Yes.
Jerry rolled over one morning after couple days,
denied
maybe
sex by his
denied by many days, and started getting a little frisky. And she said, "What about that TV idea that I had from the book that I read, that great book?" And he said, "Of course we'll do it. Of course."
That's your Jerry Seinfeld?
Of course. Who are these people?
I mean, the wife already was accused of plagiarizing someone else's children's cookbook. Okay. Now, I've stolen a lot of things in my life, but I don't steal the idea where you take a piece of liver and you stick it into the middle of a chocolate croissant, and the kid, by the time he gets to the liver, there's so much chocolate and flaky dough around it, they don't notice it. That's really what the book was. And the woman took her to court, by the way.
Yeah.
And very embarrassing. And, of course, neither book sold. So you got Jerry Seinfeld, and he's married the woman who was married to a Nederlander. For those of you that don't know the Nederlander family, they are one of the richest and wealthiest families in the United States. They own almost every live theatrical production that you see on the road, on Broadway, the Nederlander family. And it's almost like, wouldn't you, they'd be like Barnum and Bailey, wouldn't they, Rodney? They're that big. They're huge. And so she marries this Nederlander guy. Now, Garrett, so I don't get in trouble, Google how this happened. I'm gonna give you what I always heard. And so she marries the guy, and she goes on the honeymoon with the guy. But she'd been at the gym, and she had seen Jerry Seinfeld at the gym, right? She comes back from her honeymoon, and she strikes up a conversation, a friendly conversation with, with Jerry Seinfeld. And the next thing you know, she announces to her brand new husband, the, billionaire Nederlander, that she's getting a divorce and leaving him for Jerry Seinfeld, and they claimed that they had not had an affair. But she'd been married, I think, a month or something, right? Something like that. So she comes as damaged goods, as far as I'm concerned, Robin. That's damaged goods. Okay,
you got that right.
Do you have anything, Garrett? Am I close to the right story? I heard that from my friends in Los Angeles.
I'm just looking it up now.
They met on a Stairmaster or on a what's the thing called, the elliptical? The the
isn't that the one where the knees go out and in, out and
yes,
in?
I use the elliptical.
I do.
Legs. Yes, that's right. And you know what? I don't care what they say about it. You know why I use it, don't you?
Oh yeah, I know why you use it.
It's the easiest one to use. And the gals, when they're working it, they become almost sexual in their needs to make it go fast, go slow, bend over. Whatever.
It's great to watch.
Yeah, the elliptical is much more fun than the bike or the treadmill or anything else. It is the most fun. It's the one with the big platypus type.
What is the muscle that is right at the top of the inside of the thigh?
The muscle
is that the Kliegel muscle?
No, that the Kliegel muscles are inside the vagina. They're inside the walls.
No, but they have to go somewhere. They have to go somewhere though.
Really?
They're connected to
I don't know.
Like the thigh, right?
I've never gotten so deep in anybody.
Well,
that
each end of a
Kliegel.
You never got to the Kliegel?
No,
that's a good part.
You ever open somebody up and a Klieg light comes in? What's that theatrical light?
The Klieg light.
Klieg light is a spotlight.
It's got the hook on it. Yeah, that's the G spot, by the way.
That's the Klieg. You hit it, and the light comes on.
Yeah, then you know you've done good. It rings a bell. The whole thing happens.
Today. Garrett, we're just vamping here until you get us the story on Jessica Seinfeld.
Here it says Jerry was dating a 17-year-old high school student.
What?
Yes.
When he was like 45 years old?
In his late 30s.
Shoshana Lowenstein.
Lowenstein, yeah.
The one with the gigantic
boobs.
Oh,
but wait, excuse me one second. In every state of the union, except maybe New Jersey and Arkansas, she's underage, so that's statutory rape.
Most states are 16. Some are 14.
Rodney, when you were 39 or 38 years old, I mean, besides wanting to sleep with them, can you imagine actually introducing your friends to your 17-year-old girlfriend while you were a multi-millionaire?
I didn't have to. They were their daughters. They already knew each other.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
What, do I got to introduce my friend to his daughter?
So he had a 17-year-old girlfriend who now has a brassiere company, right? That's what she owns.
Yeah.
She owns...
it's called Parachute Brassieres.
Gorgeous tits. Gorgeous tits.
Tents are us.
And then he moved on to Carol Leifer, who was the model for Elaine on Seinfeld.
I know Carol.
No. Carol was his girlfriend long before Shoshana.
Carol's the writer. Carol's been on the show.
Yeah, Carol's been around forever.
I went against Carol Leifer on a quiz show called Spelling Bee or something where we all got. It was me and Big Pussy were teamed up against Carol Leifer.
You know what the problem, Garrett? You're not on Wikipedia. You're on Vaginapedia. They're always get things backwards.
Carol Leifer is very nice and very funny and very smart.
Funny.
But, you're not, you're going to take the dumb 17-year-old.
You're going with blimpies before funny.
So
Carol Leifer is someone you have to deal with, Rodney. Right. Garrett, you're fantastic with two egomaniacal comedians like Rodney and I, because you really hold still.
It's amazing.
It's unbelievable. So go ahead.
So then he meets Jessica Sklar at the Reebok Sports Club and began.
Does he know anyone that's not Jewish? Doesn't have the ability to date a non-Jew? That's the other thing, right?
And it all says that Sklar was a PR executive for Tommy Hilfiger and had just returned from a 3-week honeymoon in Italy with Eric Nederlander, a theatrical producer. Blah blah blah. Sklar divorced Nederlander and married Seinfeld on Christmas 1999.
Well, you got to find out when she was married.
Okay.
Was she married in 1999? I think
she was married a very short time.
I have been married 3 times, and except 3, except for when we were giving
the 2 of them. It was really great.
Okay. Well, we were giving the child up and all that, so I stayed with her.
I mean, admit it. At least admit it. Giving up JT was a fantastic idea, and it turned out great.
It did, but I'm going to be honest with you, and many people, someone asked me this on a talk show, you make fun of it. Was there ever a gut-wrenching part to it? I go, it was gut-wrenching forever, for years. I used to think that my kids were going to be born deformed. I used to
thought the karma was going to come back to you.
Oh man, I mean,
now let me ask you. Can I ask you something even more personal?
Sure.
Now this one's really personal, and I've never asked you this, and I've known you for a long time. I'm not making a joke here.
Sure. What is it?
This is really personal. You sure you want me to ask?
What is it? What?
Are you glad that you didn't, that your date or your wife or whoever it was did not abort JT?
I at this
that's juncture, a tough one, man.
It's not. No, you know what? You can say anything you want to say 20 years later.
I know, but it's a tough one 20 years later. Well, it's a tough one.
But if we had aborted him...
No, I'm not asking about back then. Are you glad now?
Well, of course I'm glad he's alive.
I am too.
Yeah, I'm glad he's alive, but...
I dig JT.
Here's the sad part. She did not fare well. She was made insane by the experience of having the baby. Now, the reason why I say this...
Was she good in bed?
No, it was not good sex. It was the first time I ever went all the way with a girl.
You're kidding me.
It was the first time.
On your Virgin flight, yeah. The eagle landed?
I'll tell you what's odd.
You pulled it into the hangar on the first try?
I wasn't going to be a priest or anything, but I really bought into, and this wasn't because of my family. And I have to be honest with you, and I apologize for those of you that are being bored by this, but
no one's being bored. This is a good
what's
conversation.
Sad is and I could get emotional about it, but I really was
I'm like
righteous.
Dr. Phil.
I was a righteous kid, and I did the right thing, and I got home at midnight or whatever my dad said or whatever. My brother was a different kind of guy, and but I wasn't doing anything because my brother was opposite from me. I really bought into the whole Catholic thing, and I would get upset about what was done to Christ and how people were treated and all of this, and I really wanted to be just a good guy and thought, well, I guess you could make out and do whatever you want to do, and most of the girls I dated were Catholic. So there was, I think once in high school we tried to get laid, and I went and bought a rubber at a place called Linfants, which was like where we all parked and everything.
I thought your first was Toothless Sally or something like that.
No, I never entered her. I got on top of her.
What was her name?
Gummy Mary.
Gummy Mary, I'm sorry.
And I paid $1 and a chicken ran over my legs.
And you never got in her?
No, my penis was completely flaccid, was gone. And she was trying everything, and I had the rubber flying in the air, and it was
How'd
awful.
You get the rubber on, though?
I didn't get it on. She was trying everything and grabbing me and pulling me.
Did she try using her gums?
It was awful. It was so frightening. It was so frightening, I can't even tell you.
How did she get the nickname Gummy?
She had no teeth.
Oh,
and she took her teeth out.
Did her father own a liquor store? She's almost the perfect woman.
What's weird is that it was $1 a pop, and she was about 3 blocks from my school, Jesuit High School, on Bank Street. What's funny is, it's one of these images. There's a baseball field right behind where her house was, and of course, I pass it when I'm in New Orleans all the time, and that memory will never leave me, where her house was, right? And it was kind of a... it was the middle of the city, but it was a crappy little area back in a corner by the freeway, by the expressway. And so there were cars lined up. And so we line up, and my buddy David says he was a public school guy, right? So I get my $1, and we waited a long time. Now remember, I didn't drink or smoke or anything. I go in, there was a screen door, and I go into this bedroom, and there's this woman sitting there who had young features.
Did she try and smile?
But she had no teeth, and so she'd taken her teeth out, so her face was kind of fallen from the teeth being taken out.
Were the teeth on the nightstand?
They were on the nightstand in a glass of water.
Oh, my God.
And she said, "Do you had your money? You had your money?" Like that.
It was $1, huh?
I gave her the $1.
Was there a jar that the $1 went in, like a tip
No,
jar?
I just put it on a dresser, and there were some other dollars on the dresser.
There? Hey, did you grab a couple bucks on the way out?
There was a rock or something under it, and she says to me,
"Paperweight holding down the
I'm
dollars?
only doing this because my husband's sick and needs the money." That's what she said to me, and that's what I remember. So she pulls her skirt up, and she had like a normal young 30-something-year-old woman's body, but the face, you know, these kind of country people that are young, but their face is kind of old.
And weathered.
Yeah. But the body, so when she pulls the dress up, you know, oh my God. And she lays down and she opens her legs, and I have this rubber in my hand, and I don't know how to use it. I don't know anything. And she says, afterward, throw the scumbag in the shit can. I've told you this, right? She might as well have said to me, "The lion flies at midnight." I thought it was a signal. I didn't know what she was saying, right? Throw the scumbag in the shit can.
Like James Bond 0069.
Nobody in my house ever said shit can or scum. I never heard anything like that. I lived in a nice family, right? So that threw me. So I opened the condom up, and I'm not hard. I'm nervous. And so she starts, pulling on me and talking and gets mad because she's got customers waiting. So I guess I got it on halfway or whatever, and I go to climb aboard, and as I'm laying down, this chicken, this rooster or something that was in the backyard, comes into the house and runs across the back of my legs, and its talons dig into my calf, and that's it for me. So
that
I
didn't
get
you hard either?
No, And as I leave, now this is me. These guys say to me, "How was it?" And I go, "It was great." This is typical me. I acted like it was great because I wanted to fit in. And then my buddy David went in, and when he got back in the car, he didn't say anything. And we drove home, and it would be like you and I coming home after this event. And on the way home, you know what I start? Oh, we're going to get something. We're going to catch something. We're going to catch something. Right. We get into the bathroom at my house, and we get a bottle of alcohol. And we begin to wash ourselves, our nether region, with alcohol.
Right.
And my dad opens the bathroom door or whatever, and my buddy and I are there with our pants down, pouring alcohol on our
nether regions,
penises. And
what the dad
I do
say?
it now with my kids. He goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, we have terrible jock itch." He says, "Well, that's going to hurt, isn't it?" And I don't know. It was awful. And so then the next time,
did at any time you take your dad aside, or maybe you're having a man-to-man and say, "Dad, what's up with Gummy Mary?"
No.
Never mentioned?
No, I never had a serious discussion.
Did he ever tell you the birds and the bees or anything?
Once at dinner, I must have been about 17, and my brother, was maybe 24 or whatever he was, 25. And we're sitting at dinner, maybe younger than that. Maybe my brother was 18 and I was, 12 or something. So we're sitting at dinner, and my mother says, "Oh, Harry, when are you going to tell the boys about the birds and the bees?" And we're at the dinner table, and we're having like a stuffed bell pepper for dinner, right? So my dad looks at us and says, "You guys know all about that stuff, don't you?" And my brother and I go, yeah. My dad goes, "Let them learn it in the street. That's where you're supposed to learn it." That's what he said. And that was the end of that discussion. Let them learn it in the street. He said that's the best place to learn about it.
Well, it is.
Well, but he would have discussed it if I'd have asked him, but he would have gotten a book out. He was so studious, and he would have shown me the vagina and the penis and so it would have ruined it. Right?
Yeah. One of the greatest things you can do is learn about sex in the streets, because those are your greatest memories.
We discuss sex, and many people in our generation that have had kids in the last 20 years, first of all, you would call it a penis, you would call it a vagina, and that's one of the things they would teach you in these parenting classes, to not say wee-wee and TT and poo-poo and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Not to say those things, right? And so your kids, in this kind of new world that we live in, they learned pretty early.
No mystery. There's no mystery with them. I feel bad for them.
Well, the feeling is a mystery, but here's the other thing, Rodney.
They go on the internet. They go on the internet and they see everything. There's no mystery. I tell you, the first time
that's true.
that I pulled a girl's pants down and saw what's down there, I mean, that memory will never let you know. But kids nowadays, they've seen it all. They've seen everything. There's nothing that's a mystery. I feel bad for them. The mysterious part of it was how many holes are down there. I mean, those kids.
That's right. I thought there were 3.
Yeah, and there's a discussion. One guy thinks there's 4, 2, 1. You hear it all, and then everybody argues and discusses it, and some guy gets to feel up his neighbor and says, "Hey, guess what? There's 2. I confirmed it." Nowadays, where's that mystery? Hell, you go on the internet and you can see right there, count them. They've got little arrows and explanations.
Well, when someone said the butthole might be considered a sexual organ, I was so against that when I heard that you see I would go, well, I don't know that I even want to have that, right? So it all sounded dirty to me. But my friend David and I, when my parents would go out, we would, have sleepovers. And my dad, we had this extensive library, and he had what's called The Psychology of Sex. There were these 2 giant textbooks. They were encyclopedic. They were both 1,000 pages. And I invite you to go online, Rodney, and look up Havelock Ellis, Havelock Ellis. Havelock Ellis was the
It even sounds like a dirty name.
It does. He was the premier sexual psychologist long before I think he predates Freud, and he's before Masters and Johnson and Kinsey and all of them. And my dad had these 2 books written by Havelock Ellis, and they were from the 1800s. And my buddy and I, David, would read these passages from his clients who were making, screwing chickens and having all of these weird, psychological sexual problems. And there would be a picture or 2 in there. So we kind of knew something was up, David and I, starting at about 10. But it doesn't mean anything until someone touches you. And I told you that his maid used to masturbate him. I told you that, right? Eva used to masturbate him.
Oh, yeah.
And she showed me her vagina. But here's, and we'll stop this.
Why?
I dated a girl, and we didn't do anything. And one thing led to another, and he dated her, and he taught her a bunch of stuff, or they figured it out. And after our next guest, in the next hour, we will discuss this because I need to get to my next guest right away. Okay. He's the man that knew Bernie Madoff was guilty all along.
Oh, yeah. I like
10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So he'll be next, and then we'll continue the sexual portion of the Jay Thomas Show with Rodney Lee Conover.
If you want to tell somebody, you could whisper, you could shout.
It all depends on where or when or what it's all about.
Whether it's a story or just a single word.
If you're gonna say it, you want it to be heard.
Hey, the Jay Thomas Show. Go to jthomas.com. I believe you can see or download the Cold Case episode that I was on that won the night, believe it or not. So that was good. 888-4-102-102 is the phone number. Rodney Lee Conover is here. Go to jackbag.com and find out all about it. Harry Markopoulos, No One Would Listen, a true financial thriller. Welcome to the Jay Thomas Show. I've been wanting to meet you since the Bernie Madoff thing happened, and I'm really happy that you decided to come on the show, so thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Well, there was an FBI agent, a woman, who kept saying, these guys, these Arab guys are just learning how to take a plane off, and I think there's a problem here. And she was drummed out of the FBI. Do you remember this woman from years back?
I think I remember her report that Laden determined to strike the United States.
Right, but she also found that they were taking the planes off and not learning how to land them and playing cash and all. You knew about Bernie Madoff many years before. And, I have a financial advisor for 30 years, and I used to ask him questions about friends of mine who were making lots of money or whatever. And he kind of did what you did. He would look at the returns, and not Bernie Madoff people, but he would say, well, I don't know how they're doing it, but it doesn't seem legal to me. You know what I mean? And is that basically what happened? They wanted to know why the Madoff people were getting these incredible returns and you couldn't match them as a financial advisor?
Well, that's correct. I was managing billions of dollars in equity derivatives portfolios, and my bosses challenged me to duplicate Bernie Madoff's return stream, and I told them I can't because it's fraud.
Did they laugh at you? Did they, I mean, what do they say to you when you say that?
Oh, they just said your math's not good enough. Madoff's a primary market maker. He trades 5 to 10% of the daily stock exchange volume. He has better information and better models than you do. And so I felt like it was a challenge to my authority and my skill set, and I felt belittled.
Now, were you considered a guy who would call people out? I mean, were you considered a guy that if you weren't making the same amount of money another investment was, that maybe, I don't know, not a troublemaker exactly?
No, what you mean to say, Jay, is that nobody likes a tattletale.
A tattletale, that's right.
Yeah.
That's my buddy Rodney Conover. Yeah, were you looked upon in other instances as someone who would make an accusation like this about someone?
Not typically, no. I wouldn't. But this one was so big, I had to say something because it was too important to the nation's reputation and to the capital markets.
Yeah, but no one listened to you. That's the name of your book. No one would listen. And they didn't listen for, well, how many? 10 years, right?
It was about 8.5 years. It was a good run of not listening, and there was a lot of people that knew, but they walked away because they didn't want to get involved.
And he was at one time the president of NASDAQ, and some investigators from the SEC did speak to him, and they were frightened of him. Is that why no one moved forward on him?
When was he president of NASDAQ first of all?
It would have been the early 90s, I think 91, 92 time frame. His brother
and what happened during his tenure to the NASDAQ?
Well, NASDAQ remained a totally corrupt marketplace, unregulated, pretty much the Wild West of finance.
And went up like crazy, correct?
It did, and no one argues with money when it's
That's the problem. They were making money, so everybody's corrupt, right?
I'd like to point out that his brother was aptly appointed vice chairman.
Harry Markopoulos's book, No One Would Listen, a true financial thriller. It is not a difficult read for the layman, but the first word you used just a few moments ago. By the way, I'm Jay, and then this is my brother Rodney Lee Conover. That's okay.
It's got to be the funniest thing though is his name is Madoff.
Yeah,
that has to be the funniest.
Now,
thing
Harry, you use the word derivative, and that is the word that is now being vilified and accused of being the destruction of our financial market, and yet. You said in that first sentence when I talked about Madoff, and I'll ask you more about him, that you were in the derivative business also.
I was, but my derivatives were listed, exchange regulated, fully transparent. That's not where the cockroaches go to play on Wall Street. They go to the unregulated, over-the-counter markets where they practice rip-your-face-off financing.
That's where I am, Jay.
What is the definition for me and everybody else of a derivative?
It's an instrument whose price is based off the price of another instrument. So if you have a stock price, say International Business Machines, IBM, you could have call options and put options based upon the price of IBM. That's a derivative.
And what they were doing is they were bundling mortgages, and you would be investing in a bundle of mortgages that people were. Well, first of all, a mortgage or an assessment on a value is anybody's guess sometimes, correct? An assessment of value of a piece of property.
It is, and mortgage-backed securities are chock full of derivatives. They have all sorts of complex math associated with them.
Okay. So you saw this. We had a woman on, Alexandra, I forget her last name, but she's written a book also, Bag Lady Papers it's called. She said that the reason why she was never alarmed is she never made more than 9% on her Bernie Madoff investment. And then, of course, at the end of the day, she lost a few $1 million, and maybe I think she got $500,000 back. Now, is that one way he kept? I mean, when you were being challenged, what number was it that he was paying off to people? What was the biggest number, the biggest return he paid back to people annually?
His average annual returns net to investors were 12% a year, 1% a month, but he was earning 16% growth and passing about 4% on to the feeder funds to send them to victims.
But those aren't gigantic numbers.
They weren't, especially in the 90s when you consider there were some years the market went up 30, almost 40%, and Madoff was earning in a teen, so people didn't think that he was hitting home runs. However, on a risk-adjusted return basis, he was off the charts and couldn't be human because his return went up at a 45-degree upward angle.
So here you are, in your book, No One Would Listen says this. You were saying that this guy is fraudulent, and you, of course, work, in the billion-dollar business also. I mean, were your friends and colleagues, I mean, what happened over those 8.5 years? Did they just consider you kind of a nut? I mean, you didn't leave the company, did you?
Well, I was a portfolio manager. I got promoted to chief investment officer.
Right.
I was able to recruit a team of 3 other men to join me as we traveled across 2 continents. And I had a lot of help from the Wall Street equity derivatives desk, and I acknowledge those people in my book. Mm-hmm. They knew he was a fraud. They wanted him stopped, and they knew I was the guy that was trying to stop him. And I had a lot of help from Wall Street, from the top guys in the derivatives business. So some people did help me.
Okay, but Elliot Spitzer wasn't one of them. Did you testify in front of Elliot Spitzer? You sent him a package of documents, but he didn't do anything, even though he was catching people left and right.
Did a woman answer the phone when you called him, by the way?
No. They asked me what my client number was. I thought that was I tried to meet him in December of 2002 at the JFK Library, and I did it anonymously. I had twins that were about to be born 3 months later, and I wish I'd been a little bit braver. Rather than handing off an anonymous package to an aide and have him walk it over to him, I wish I'd looked him straight in the eye, shook in his hands, and said, I can prove mathematically to you that Madoff's a fraud in 25 minutes or less. I wish I had done that, but I didn't, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Should the SEC should be dismantled for not catching something so obvious as, like you say, the investment was at a 45-degree angle, and as we all know, it doesn't do that. It goes up and down, up and down, up and down, and it might rise over time, but it doesn't go diagonally like that. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that all the financial regulators, especially the banking regulators, they should not only be dismantled, the people there should be fired because they're not worth saving. You don't want that institutional memory. You want to start a new super regulator. You want to have bankers regulating bankers. People need to have financial expertise if they're going to be in the SEC. You can't have it be a clown show like it is now.
And who is it in Congress? Essentially, who are the 2 or 3 names that propped this whole SEC thing up? And the Fannie Mae and the Ginnie Mac and the Freddie Mac and the Big Mac and all that. Are they still in Congress? And are they? What's going on there? Because that's what always confuses me. Why isn't not anyone pointing at the regulators themselves?
Well, it's the Senate Banking Committee, and that would be both parties, the Republicans and Democrats, have led that over the decade. And on the House side, it would be the House Financial Services Committee, again led by both parties. But if you look closely, you'll find that both parties represent corporations and corporate interests, not the taxpayers' interests.
Yeah, I want names, though. Give me some names.
Oh, well, on the Republican side, it'd be Richard Shelby, Alabama, on the Senate, and it would also be Chris Dodd on the Democrat side. Ask who's writing the financial reform package, and you'd probably be saying that it's the lobbyists.
And should Tim Geithner be in prison? I mean, wasn't he part of the problem? I'm sorry. The King has a call. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, when I look at Geithner, when I hear Geithner speak, and he was a member of the New York Fed, he looks like the typical, fox in the woodshed,
I think you're giving him too much credit. You're assuming that he's smart. I think it's easier just to assume that he's not smart. He's dumb. And he was responsible for overseeing and regulating the money center banks. The largest bank heist in history operated right underneath his nose. And what happened? How was he held accountable by government? I'll tell you. The new president appoints him as Secretary of the Treasury, so he gets promoted for screwing up.
But why aren't the people, not the people like me, but why aren't the people that ought to be going nuts? Why aren't they saying, look, this is the fox, and now you got him in charge of the chickens?
Well, he's not a fox. He's dumb. What he's saying is he's too dumb to have the job. And he's a pompous prick also, Harry.
Well, he's not a finance guy. He's a guy that has a Ph.D., I think, in government, never sat on a trading desk in his life, doesn't understand Wall Street. He's the perfect stooge or puppet for Wall Street because he continually bails these people out for bad behavior and allows them to steal their bonuses. So he's the perfect guy for Wall Street. You want him young and dumb without any trading experience.
Somebody needs to learn how to use their touch-tone phone. I don't know who it is. But
I don't know who it is.
But who are the people that should be standing up and saying, Tim Geithner? What are you, high? Don't put him in charge of the Treasury. Who would that be? I mean, if I do that, nobody listens.
Oh, I think it has to be us voters at the polls in 2010 and 2012. We need to throw those parties out of power and on the streets because they're working for the corporations. They don't care less about us.
Yeah, but wait a second. Now Harry Markopolos is here. No One Would Listen is the book, a true financial thriller. You are a guy that has traded billions of dollars and been compensated, I'm sure, handsomely. So you're kind of calling yourself out at the same time because most of us are going to put you in with the same group.
No, I bring cases against the industry. I file my cases under seal. I recruit whistleblower teams, and I chase the banksters. I have cases, one just popped out, State Street. There's a bank, a custody bank in Boston. The Attorney General for the state of California, Jerry Brown, intervened. He's asking for $200 million in damages for a foreign currency scheme that defrauded millions of pensioners in the state of Florida, in the state of California.
Are some of these institutions, like AIG, for instance, that's still in business somehow, is it just a shell? I mean, is there actually a business there?
Well, they're selling them off piece by piece to repay us taxpayers. Let's hope we do get fully repaid. That's my hope. But what they did do when they rescued AIG was they bailed out Goldman Sachs and a lot of other investment banks for making bad derivatives bets with an unworthy counterparty, AIG, that wasn't reserving for the risk that they were taking.
And how much of that taxpayer money went overseas to, like, Deutsche Bank and all those dudes over there?
A significant chunk went to the French and German banks.
What is going on here? So my money, my hard-earned money, goes to a bunch of jerk-off Germans and French that made bad bets.
And I bet you didn't even get a thank you card in the mail from them either.
Well, I did get a thank you card, but still, that doesn't feed the bulldog, you know?
Can you hang with us for 90 seconds, and then we'll come back and ask one or two more questions and let you go? Okay. Harry Markopolos, No One Would Listen, a true financial thriller. It is really an incredible read, and it probably should affect how you vote for a lot of people. It's the Jay Thomas Show with Rodney Lee Conover. Markopolos, No One Would Listen, a true financial thriller. Has anybody talked to you about making a movie out of it? It's almost like Barbarians at the Gate, isn't it, Harry?
I'd say plenty have. It's been all the major studios just about, with maybe one or two exceptions. Mm-hmm. We'll see. That remains to be seen. I'm very worried about Hollywood, though. Their accountants make the Enron accountants look like choir boys.
Well,
isn't it funny that they make a movie about greed? That kills me.
Some more people were indicted today that helped Bernie Madoff. So here's my I have 3 questions, and then we'll let you go. Here's the first one. So he would go to these accountants or whoever, and he would have to admit that what he was doing was fraudulent, Bernie Madoff would?
Well, he would lie and say that the two-man accounting firm that was auditing him was run by his brother-in-law because he could only trust family members to look at the secret sauce and look at his proprietary trading formulas. That wasn't true. It was not a related party, but the guy got paid and never did an audit, and so that's why he's under indictment.
But so did the guy know it was illegal or just figured it was an easy way to get a payday and he figured everything would be okay with Madoff?
It's hard to say what went through his mind. I can't speak to what was inside his head. Obviously, he'd be better off cooperating with the authorities because he's facing, I think, somewhere between 108 and 114 years in prison.
Wow. Now, Bernie's in jail, and we had some people on here that said that, and you say the same thing, he's better off in jail because somebody may knock him off. My question is, was there ever $65 billion available somewhere to Bernie Madoff?
No, that was the notional amount. That was the phantom income. I've always estimated it was between 15 and 30 billion that actually went into the scheme, and the rest was just phantom profits. So it didn't really exist. That's just the people, what they thought they had on their statements as of November 2008, a month before the scheme blew up.
Okay, now where is, if they've only found less than $1 billion personally, where is the other billions of dollars? That's my question. Where is it?
A lot of the people that got in early and took income distributions, monthly or quarterly checks, they're hiding from the clawbacks from the trustee, and a lot of that went overseas because he had a lot of foreign feeder funds, and those people may never be found. And the smallest piece probably was pilfered away by the Madoff family, and it may be well hidden. We may not be able to recover it.
You mean his family still may be able at some later date to in a Swiss account or wherever they have it hidden, China, Russia, wherever, and get some money out when things cool down?
I don't think so, because Bernie's not going to be showing up at that offshore bank anytime soon, at least for another 149 years.
Right.
His family has disavowed any knowledge of the scheme, so they really can't show up either. So if I'm his private offshore banker, guess what? I'm going to keep his money, and I'll steal from the Madoff family.
How often does that happen with the Swiss bank accounts in the Cayman Islands and whatnot? People get thrown in prison or killed or assassinated or whatever, and the bank, the executives go, there's $20 billion in this account, and I don't think anybody's going to collect it. Is that how they make the lion's share of their profits?
Oh, they keep it. That's an unintended profit, but they'll take it. Look at what happened to the Jewish investors in the Swiss banks during World War II. The people were killed off by the Germans in the concentration camps, and the Swiss kept the money until they got caught with their hands in the cookie jar, and they had to give a lot of it back.
Why are we so? Why do we like the Swiss? They're horrible people, aren't they?
I can't speak to the whole people, but as far as
sure we can.
Banks and the offshore secrecy, nothing good comes from an offshore bank.
You know what, though? The Cayman Islands are beautiful. You ever been scuba diving there?
I don't go to offshore tax havens, but I certainly would like to someday.
Yeah, there's even cash on the bottom of the ocean over there. There's so much money.
Harry, do you spank your children? You sound like a spanker to me.
I came from a background where I was certainly spanked, and it did me a lot of good. I have 3 young boys at home, and maintain household discipline, let's put it that way.
We'll tell the youngest one to quit pushing the buttons on the phone while you're talking.
Harry Markopolos, I mean this, get this book. It will explain the whole Bernie Madoff thing, and no one would listen to True Financial Thriller. How many other Madoffs do you think are out there now? Do you have your eye on somebody or a group of individuals right now?
I'm pretty much chasing the banksters for pension fraud against everyday Americans. I mean, firemen, teachers, policemen, corporate employees. And that's pretty much where I'm concentrating. There's trillions of dollars in assets there. There's not been a cop on the beat in Wall Street or in the banking industry for decades now. No one was looking. They had plenty of motive and opportunity to steal. And that's where I tend to be doing my best casework. I tend to do the $1 billion to $10 billion cases, and I'm having great success with it.
Okay, buddy.
I'm underneath
Harry,
that.
Thank you. Harry Markopolos. No one would listen to True Financial Thriller. Thank you very much, Harry.
Thank you for having me, gentlemen.
Good luck, man.
Thanks. I mean this. You know this about me. When I read about this guy, and we work in the corporate world, you earlier today, just like an hour ago, you asked me not to mention a certain person's name about a TV show or whatever.
Yeah.
We were also talking about when we're off the air, we say all kinds of stuff that goes back into the engineering room or whatever. Right. And we're all scared to death to say something. This guy called this guy a crook like 12 years ago. I mean, he was the president of NASDAQ, and this guy went to his bosses and said, this guy is a crook. And he left being an industry executive and then opened a financial fraud investigation firm.
Well, so he saw an
I'm not brave like this guy. I'm not brave.
He saw an opportunity. He said, you know what, with all the fraud that's going on here, there is some opportunity for a guy to expose that fraud, and I'm that guy. This is a great American story.
You know what? In the word "great American," I mean, it sounds stupid, but that's what I thought of him all along.
Yeah.
And Bernie Madoff has that same smirk that this guy Geithner has.
Yeah.
And the other guy, and I'm bringing his picture up in front of me. This guy Richard Fuld, F-U-L-D, who used to run Lehman Brothers.
Right.
Get a picture of him.
You can just look at him and tell.
Evil. Fucking evil. You know, my friend Phil did a video, something for Lehman at one time.
Yeah.
And he just talked about this guy years ago. It wasn't he said this guy was such a prick and a son of a bitch and said such weird stuff to him when he was just doing this little corporate video. And now the son of a bitch may go broke. But you know what's weird? The Tea Partiers have it all wrong. And so do the Democrats. Something happens when you get in there. They must hand you a check or something. I don't know what happens. I'd like to get elected just to find out, wouldn't you?
And when we come back, Jay, I will tell you what happens.
You'll tell us what happens. All right, stay where you are. I want a check. Where's my check? Yes, Senator Thomas.
South of the border, down Mexico way, below the equator, at the YMCA. Hey. That's where I eat. So, Jen, screw John Mayer, Vince Vaughn, fuck Brad Pitt. Indiana Jones couldn't find your clit. Why not? Because it's a mess.
Let it play.
Hey, Jen, the 70s called. They're all out of whack. They want their vagina back. Jennifer.
I
love you. On the Jay Thomas Show.
There you go. The great Rodney Lee Conover, everybody. That's a replay if ever I heard one.
I didn't realize that Ira was doing backup. That's great.
Well, Ira,
I should have sent him the word so he could do the whole thing.
That wouldn't make any difference.
That's true.
It wouldn't make a bit of difference. Yeah,
right.
He'd be an hour late.
You're right.
Many people love Ira. Many people now are complaining about him, saying that he has become. Well, yesterday he did the entire show. You
forward those complaints to me because I will make a visit.
Yeah. He did his entire show yesterday in an Irish brogue, and one of the greatest acting roles, better than Brad Pitt ever could be. And then, tell him, Garrett, at 2 seconds after 6, what happened?
Right as the music stopped. Jay.
He was right back to being Irish. He was Irish the whole day. Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm so excited that I have this guy, Harry Markopolos, on, and I opened...
I have a Harry Markopolos.
I know you do. And, of course, while I'm doing that, a guy named Hoodoo sends me a picture of a dune stinkhorn mushroom that is shaped like a penis. Right in the middle of my big... my big interview. So thanks very much. I guess the weird thing is that I will never understand, and I mean it, what does happen, and what would happen if I ran for government or any of us ran for government, and we look like we can see the problem, and then you get in there, and I guess you can't do anything. I don't know what the hell happens.
The problem is no one with any common sense. Look, anybody that's lived life, like you have, like I have, like most of the people we hang out with, we've lived life, because we know there's just one go-round. And when you live life, once in a while, shit happens,
Right.
And sometimes shit happens that you're not that proud of, and you got to kind of, move on. Well, let's say you're a successful guy, and you have a business, or you worked hard, and you made some money, you got wife, kids, your kids are in college, or you got grandkids, and now you're at the twilight of your life. You're 65 or whatever you are, and you say to yourself, America really is great, and I got to live life. I got to live a great life, man. I'm gonna run for politics, and I'm really gonna do good. I'm gonna really help and do my best. But then, you can't do it because the press is gonna dig up shit you did when you were in college, and even if it's not really bad shit, it's still stuff you don't want your grandkids reading about.
Well, one guy. What about the guy that's...
really good people don't run for office because the fucking media is obsessed with every little goddamn thing you've done in your life. And who cares what you did when you were in college?
Well,
I
wait a
smoked
minute.
Marijuana. Big fucking deal. I jumped off a building naked when I was in college, okay? Somebody's gonna drag that up, and I don't want my nephews reading about that.
Well, I'm gonna get this.
And that's what happens.
All right, but hold on a second. There's a guy who was running for Congress, I want to say out of Utah, and, a Republican, and probably not anybody that I personally would have voted for. But when he was 30 years old, and he's 55 now, so it's 25 years ago, and I apologize because I have the story here somewhere. I wanted to talk about it, but I didn't think we'd do it today. But he got in a hot tub naked with a 15-year-old girl.
And how old was he at the time?
He was 30 years old.
So he didn't know she was 15.
Whatever. It's 25 years ago. Right?
Exactly.
He may or may not have been married. I don't think he was married. The woman is now 40 years old, and she lives in Massachusetts, okay? And so she announces that when he was 30, she got in a hot tub with him naked when she was 15. She didn't say they drank. She didn't say they smoked dope, and she didn't say they had sex. She said they got in a hot tub together, and this guy has had to withdraw from, or has decided to withdraw from running. Now,
exactly.
I want to say,
and he's probably a guy. He might be a guy. I shouldn't say probably. I don't know anything about him. But he might be a guy that actually gets in there and does some good. But like you say, 25 fucking years ago, that's gonna be blown up, and that'll be the headline. Not his issues, not what he thinks about how could straighten out government. No, this will be the headline. And I got to tell you, I blame the media. I really do.
Well, Garrett, go online.
Get your shit together and
find out who the guy is.
Start judging people on how they feel on the issues of the day, not this other bullshit, because then we end up with a bunch of assholes in political office. And you got to admit that this is not an impressive group of people. Nancy Pelosi is third in line to be the president, the Speaker of the House. Some say the Speaker of the House is the most powerful person in the world. I'll tell you what, I think she's a fucking idiot, and I'm not kidding you. She's as dingy as a potted plant. I don't know how she got elected. When she speaks, I just think I'm looking at some Barbie robot that got out of control and got into office.
Now, do you not like her because of her demeanor, or do you have enough information to know that she's dumb? Because I'm going to be honest, I'm a Democrat, as you know, I don't know a thing about the woman. I don't know.
When I hear her speak, all I can think of is, you're a stupid dingbat that couldn't run a 2-car funeral. What are you doing as the leader of the House?
Well, they voted on her.
This woman hasn't.
The Democrats voted her in.
I know, but she hasn't had an original thought in her life, and I
don't know a thing about her. Not a thing.
Well, you've seen her speak, and you got to admit,
and I know people hate her, but I don't know.
It's not about hate. I don't hate her. If I met her, I would probably like her and hang out with her and have a beer. It's not about.
Okay, hold on one second.
I'm talking about. All right. I think she's just not impressive.
Okay, hold on. There's a guy named Pence, Garrett, and you can get this online. He was speaking 2 days ago to these teacuppers, whatever they are, the tea baggers.
You know, using a gay slur is really fucked up, and I don't know how liberals who say, "Oh, we're so tolerant," can
teabaggers.
The word teabagger is reserved for a bunch of rednecks describing gay guys. Look at that teabagger.
Or people that are in the Tea Party.
No, it's like saying faggot.
Really? Yeah. So you're upset with me for calling them teabaggers?
I'm just amazed that a so-called liberal Democrat can, on one hand, say, "Oh, we're the tolerant party," and then use a word like teabagger.
Well, I didn't know the exact name to call them. You know, asshole was taken.
The asshole would be more acceptable.
Get this guy Pence and another woman, and I'm going to play it for you. And I don't disagree with you about Nancy Pelosi and a lot of them, but get this guy Pence and get this woman, and they were speaking to the teabaggers in Washington. And just find it. I'm sure it's on Fox or CNN. And I just would like you to listen to them, Rodney. And these are people from the...
You can't take one or two people and say the whole group believes.
Well, then get Al Franken, because every time he speaks, I keep waiting for a bit to start, okay? And Al smoked dope. Tom Davis was on our show. He probably, did coke, did everything. So Al has certainly lived.
Well,
Al Franken.
He got in as... Okay.
Well, my God, if he didn't live on Saturday Night Live, no one's lived. Okay?
It's a fluke. I'm not judging any group of people by one or two people. I'm saying overall, these people are not impressive, and probably Nancy Pelosi is the least impressive of people I've heard speak, and she's in such a powerful position.
We make fun of everybody for any discretion. People like you and I make fun of anybody for any discretion, and so does Letterman and every talk show host and radio guy and everybody else. So we're partly to blame for why people who've done anything can't get in. Come on.
I don't think we're to blame at all.
Really?
No, yeah, really. I don't think people take us seriously as political pundits.
Didn't you bet and put down money 10-1 that Elin Woods was not going to show up at the Masters?
Information, that's all.
She's 10-1, won't show up.
Can you imagine the dough that she can make off
That's
from that
exactly
bet?
what I was thinking. Yeah.
Can you imagine she's on the phone and she's going, guys, there is a 10-1 bet you can lay down, and I got news for you. I'm showing up, and I'm
in England. It's 10-1. Yeah, she won't show. Hey, Doug of Arizona.
How can they do a bet like that? And
I'll tell you in a minute. It may be 100-1 actually. Doug of Arizona. Who is this guy from Utah that got in a hot?
I don't have his name, but he was the Speaker of the House.
Kevin Garn. Someone just sent me Kevin Garn, the Utah Majority Leader, and I know he's a Mormon. It's a Mormon state.
Yeah, come on, it's Utah.
It was 25 years ago. Would you have not voted for him, Doug, because he got in a hot tub with a 15-year-old girl 25 years ago?
No, there was no sexual contact. He got into a hot tub with her twice.
He had sexual contact with her. And why do you think from Massachusetts or Rhode Island, wherever she lives, what is she doing? Why is she turning him in?
She's 15 and now
probably
40.
Because he's speaker. He's not Speaker of the House, but what did you say? The Majority Leader. He's in a
Majority Leader. Yeah.
Yeah, she wanted to knock him down. You know,
Why?
The problem is, I agree with Rodney. I agree with Rodney's point. Our system is designed now to foster mediocrity, because if you've never gotten in trouble or done anything stupid, you don't take any chances. And so we've got mediocre people in office.
Yeah, a bunch of dopes.
And the advent of the internet has aggravated the problem, because you can't hide anything.
Hey, Doug, when you were young, and who were the idiots that were in student council when we were in junior high?
Yeah.
Those are the people we're talking about now that are running the country.
Excuse me.
Remember you'd make fun of them and you'd say, what a bunch of dopes, they're on student council, and we'd laugh at them.
Excuse me. I was always on student council.
What position?
President. I would usually be the secretary. You know what, Garrett? The laughter in the background is not helping me.
You know, Doug and I rest our cases based on that.
I would be the secretary, and then in college, I was the president of my sophomore class.
Well, there you go.
Well, I'm a normal person.
Oh, yeah. You're normal.
Yeah, I would have gone into politics.
Yeah, I want you running things.
Had I not given that illegitimate child up, had I not gotten out of the draft,
Have you ever been in a hot tub with a girl, Jay?
I've been in so many hot tubs.
Witness will answer the question.
That's the problem. I don't know what people would say. It would take hours for the stories to come out.
Well, I'm with Doug. Doug said it actually way more articulately than I did, is that we're fostering mediocrity. That's perfect, Doug. I'm stealing that from you.
So if I was running for office, and I was running, and so all of this stuff comes up, he yelled at me, he slammed the door.
He slapped me around. You went to trial.
I didn't slap too many of them around, but he gave me, he got in a hot tub with me. I was in Vegas. I was naked. We had a fight on a balcony, blah, 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 blah. And I'm running for government. What do I say, Doug? I'm going to say, what as a candidate would I say to you, a person that would vote for me? How do I get over that?
You see, what you did, though, is you got an outrageous example there. Let's say you had a DUI at some point in the past. That comes out. That's enough to knock people out of the running.
That's ridiculous. That's stupid. That's ridiculous.
Either that or you just lie like Clinton did when he said, well, I smoked dope, but I didn't inhale.
No,
You say something ridiculous.
Well, you know why we voted for him? Because we thought it was stupid. People that liked him thought it was. Same thing with George Bush. He had been a drunk. He'd been a coke guy. I never held that against Bush.
We voted for Bill Clinton, and only like 34% of us voted for Bill Clinton. There were two conservatives running against Bill Clinton. They split the Republican vote, and Clinton got in office. That's what happened.
So what? So he got the majority of votes.
No, he didn't.
You always bring it up.
No, he didn't get the majority of votes. He didn't get anywhere close to a majority of the votes.
He got more than the other two.
True, but he didn't get anywhere near the majority. He was elected with the smallest amount of votes
with the
ever.
Smallest majority. That's right.
It wasn't
majority
a majority.
means the most votes. Right. I made a lot of money when Bill Clinton was president. I wish that Monica Lewinsky had gone down on all of Congress back then.
Only because a Republican Congress came in and these adults started running things, Jay. That's what kills me about Democrats. They got no sense of history.
Well, I got plenty of sense of history. Plenty of sense of history.
Well, please tell us about it. Doug
I will tell you right now, and this is one thing why I don't like the teabaggers, who, as far as I'm concerned...
Again, you're using a gay slur. Why do you do
not
that?
A gay slur. I think people that are in the Tea Party take testicles and put them in their mouths.
Is that what teabag?
That's exactly what I think. If you, Doug of Arizona, if you join one of these Tea Party movements, before it's over, in a darkened room, a testicle will be put into your mouth.
There's a lot of people that don't want to run for office just because they don't want the anal rectal exam that the media is going to give them. Even if
the anal rectal
exam. You had to take it one step further.
You know what I like? You didn't just say rectal or anal. It was a double whammy there. It was an anal rectal. Yeah. All right.
Absolutely.
Thank
you. Doug, have you ever dozed off and you awake to a hairy ball sack and right near your face?
Hey, I'm a long-time listener. I really enjoy you guys, by the way.
Thank you. Would the members of the Tea Party please signify their presence here? You know.
So you're calling members of the Tea Party gay? Like there's something wrong with being gay?
They have sucked.
Jay,
testicles.
You have just.
There's nothing gay about that.
You have. Oh, there isn't?
No.
Is that a mea culpa, or do you really mean
No,
that?
there's nothing. I mean, I didn't say they brought somebody to fruition or they touched them, but a testicle went into their mouths. That's all.
I see. Okay.
That's the shape of a tea.
Try that one. Try that one on your wife, if you get caught.
Mick of Ohio. Yes, Mick. Jay Thomas here. How are you? Rodney Lee Conover is also with us. Yes, Mick.
Yeah, I'm here, Jay. Big fan. Listen, Rodney, I mean, you're like Dick Cheney trying to become a comedian.
The Dick Cheney of comedy.
I've never owned a gun, though, Mick. The only person in this room, in this show, that owns a gun is Jay, the big liberal.
Well,
plenty of guns.
I
think hunting is stupid, Mick. Why am I like Dick Cheney?
Yeah, you do like Dick Cheney.
Oh. Why am I like him? I'm not a hunter. I don't shoot lawyers in the face.
Oh, my God, you're like the Fox News of this. I mean,
what's wrong with Fox News? You think only conservative people watch Fox News? If you do, you're completely nuts.
Yes, you're right. That's all I want. I watch it for a minute and then I turn it off because it's just
completely insane, Mick. The numbers that they get is absolutely off the charts.
Yeah, but half of us watch it because we can't believe what we're seeing.
Oh, there's no liberals on Fox News? Is that what you're saying?
No, not real liberals. But I will tell you something about. Hey,
at least they do both. They lean conservative, but at least they do both. And their competitors are nothing but liberals, Mick.
Anyhow, you're deflecting.
Yes, he's a deflector.
Mick, you live in Ohio, okay? You're a swing state.
Yeah.
You're
Mick,
swinging both ways.
He's not going to let you say anything, Mick. You're exactly.
No, go ahead, Mick. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mick.
All right, I'm going to let you guys.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. You've sickened Mick.
No, go ahead, Mick. You got more to say, I'm sure.
He's like Dick Cheney on comedy crack, isn't he?
Exactly. I feel for you, Jay.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Mick.
He's from Ohio. He's from Ohio. What can I say?
My son, the gunsmith, part of the gunsmithing is the history of gunsmithing and all of that. And I just recently was sent. Now this is part of his gunsmithing history. And this is in Arizona. This is like one of the most conservative states in the Union. Records of the colonial militias and the general abysmal showing of Americans in the early American wars, especially as terrible shots, and the worst army on the face of the earth caused most settlers who owned a gun to just put it away somewhere and allow it to gather dust. If you were to speak to settlers back in the turn of the century in the early 1800s, or from 1776 to almost 1860, it says here, and I'm reading this right from Disarming Early American History. That's what it's called. It says American past is that every settler owned a gun in order to hunt, to put meat on the table, is a repeated phrase. This is a very strange perception. Hunting is, and always has been, Rodney, time-consuming and an inefficient way of putting food on the table. That's what you say, isn't it? Right?
And
you say it's inefficient.
Stupid.
Well, no, that's what the settlers said. People that were settling the new territory of the United States had so little time for leisure activities, and hunting was broadly understood in the European context to be an upper-class leisure activity. One of the most significant advantages that the European settlers enjoyed over their Indian competitors was that they mastered domesticated animals. So if a settler wanted meat, he would never, ever pull out a gun, which was inaccurate beyond 20 yards. Or he would just he wouldn't take it down, spend the day cleaning and preparing it, and then hiking for miles to try and find it, or trying to buy powder and shot. Instead, he would just chop the head off of a chicken. So you are correct, but it's the first time I've ever seen it in a history book. So what's funny about these Second Amendment nuts and about these tea baggers that suck testicles and stuff is that they don't
Second Amendment nuts. You remember the NRA?
No, I'm not anymore.
Yes,
I'll
you
tell
are.
You why. No, they have some really rude pictures.
You are a member of the NRA, and you have always been. And then
they have a rude picture.
Then you have of
Hillary Clinton up at the gun shop.
You're so full of hypocrisy.
They have a rude picture of Hillary
nuts.
Clinton.
Oh, by the way, I'm one of them.
No, but you've said this forever. Why hunt? And I even made the mistake. You said, why hunt when you can go to the store? And I would say, well, the colonialists and all that. I was dead wrong. I'm telling you, I was wrong. That this is a history of the 1770s all the way almost up to the Civil War, that getting a gun and hunting for your food was time-consuming, inefficient, expensive, and the guns were totally inaccurate. So they didn't do that.
You know, the reason I'm not saying hunting should be illegal.
Are you impressed by me actually finding out something that has gone against what I would say to you? You don't even compliment me.
I was about to, but you interrupted me.
All right.
May I do it now?
Go ahead.
Mr. My name's on top of the door?
Can I just say one more thing before you
I'm sure you can.
Do you know why they banned hunting at night in the United States? Well, you're not supposed to hunt at night. It happened.
I did not know that.
In the 1790s. Do you know why they banned hunting at night?
Hold on. Running through the comedy Rolex.
Oh, it's funny in its own right.
Why did they ban hunting at night?
Right.
Because why? I don't know.
Because it led to the death of too many cows and horses.
They're quite an elusive animal.
Either they would shoot a horse or a cow that moved in the woods thinking it was a deer, or they would get tired of hunting and just shoot a horse or a cow and, chop it up and eat it. So they were killing too many domesticated animals under the guise of hunting at night. Okay, go ahead.
Well, they're easier to shoot. They're in a pen.
Yes, they are easier to shoot.
I mean, the thing about hunting is, people are like, you want to outlaw hunting. No, I don't. I think you want to go hunt. You want to go dress up like a fucking, whatever you're doing. Teach your kids that it's fun to do that to animals, to torture them, to shoot hot lead into their flesh. You want to do that? You go for it.
Do that to people, to the Taliban, but not to a duck.
Yeah, I mean, I hit a rabbit with a rock when I was young. I think it traumatized me. Anyway, but I am most impressed with your illustrative open-mindedness today, Jay, that you actually found something. You said, I might be wrong about this thing. So, thank you.
Well, no, I actually thought
I
that
do
they
recognize
did.
that you did that.
But here's what's weird, and I think that if Democrats or people that are against the conservatives, they need to start really quoting not just the Constitution, but what it was like back when Thomas Jefferson and the framers of the Constitution were putting it together. Here's another one from the same history book. It was not easy to require a firearm. If an individual wanted one for some reason, the simplest route was to become an active member of a militia, because the government supplied the weapons from its stores, and they waited for a shipment of guns to come to a government area, and if there was an uprising of Indians or if the community was under attack, now I'm going to say it one more time, the government handed out the weapons to the local militia. Now, why this stuff isn't being said on the floor of Congress to these assholes that think that Americans had no interest in guns, none whatsoever, and couldn't even shoot the damn things most of the time. I always figured this, but I never saw it. I never saw it in the history book until.
But the Second Amendment has nothing to do with hunting. It has nothing.
It has to do with militias. And
it has to do with the right to defend your family and your property. You know the reason that no other country will ever invade the United States and try to take it over is because they can't.
No,
people would come out with their guns and blow their fucking heads off.
That's not true.
That's way true. What do you think Hitler did? The first thing he did.
You always say this.
Well, what did he do? The first
he disarmed the army, not the people.
No, the first day he was in office, they went door to door and searched for guns and collected them. That's the first thing, because they knew that they could not accomplish what they wanted to accomplish.
Okay, well then let me give you
outlined in Mein Kampf.
All right, let me give you another
example. He was elected democratically, and the first thing they did was gather up the guns, Jay. First goddamn thing.
Let me ask you a question.
Go.
You live in Marfa, Afghanistan, and an American soldier beats on the door at 2 o'clock in the morning, okay?
And here we go with the anti-Americanism.
No, I'm not being anti-American. And you and your wife and family are sleeping, and you get your gun, and you shoot through the door at whoever's beating on the door, speaking in a foreign language, and you kill a couple of soldiers, and then they blow your house up and kill everybody in the house. That's what's going on in Afghanistan.
What the hell does that got to do with the Second Amendment in America?
Well, no, what I'm saying is that that's exactly correct. They have the right to defend themselves also, and that's why I don't think we ought to be there. How's that sound? How's that sound?
Hey, how about tell your president to get us out of there like he promised?
Agree. I'm not voting for that son of a bitch again.
Hey, listen, man, you're preaching to the choir. You're talking to the guy you're talking to the guy that's against the first Persian Gulf War.
I'm done with it. I'm done with it.
Done?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
My favorite new television show is Pretty Wild. Have you seen this one yet, Garrett?
Is that the name of it?
It is fabulous.
Wait a minute. Is it fabulous or Pretty Wild?
It's called Pretty Wild.
Oh, it is.
And it's got Tess, Gabrielle, Alexis, and Andrea. Tess and Andrea have posed for Playboy, and Alexis has been arraigned.
Now, wait a minute. You don't like girls that test for Playboy.
This show is fabulous because it's all about 4 wild women, and they just do wild things every week, and they talk about their sexual activities, getting arrested, drinking. I mean, it's going to be the next huge hit.
Is it better than The Marriage Ref?
Oh, well, we're having the lady call in a few minutes. I actually feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for The Marriage Ref. You know, I mean, what are we going to say to the lady, Garrett, when she calls up?
Yeah, Garrett, what are we going to do?
What are we going to do?
Did you guys see the Larry David, Ricky Gervais, Madonna one?
How was that? Was that funny?
It was enjoyable.
So because Ricky Gervais was on, right?
The only thing, though, actually, he was the least funny.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
Was Larry funny?
Larry was very funny.
I bet Madonna was funny.
Madonna and Larry had very good
Did Larry say anything about his real marriage?
Yeah, I was going to say that's
someone
odd couple to have on there.
Someone brought it. What'd they say?
And Larry's like, "You realize we're on national television, right?" And everyone cracked up.
Well, they supposedly his wife, who is a big ecological person and all that, Susie Essman is supposed to be the character most like Larry David's wife in real life, right? Can you imagine? And, I think Larry has a daughter or whatever. And then, of course, Madonna, what did she say about her marriage to Guy Ritchie?
And Sean Penn.
Nothing. Yeah. There was nothing really personal.
What did she say about her hairy underarms? This is what I want to know.
The thing was, it seemed like they were riffing too much, so you could tell there were obvious edits and stuff. And you feel like you missed out on good jokes just because they had to fit in, the married couples clips and stuff like that.
What was the married couples problem that you saw?
There were 4 of them. Mm-hmm. One guy was a metrosexual, and his wife would make him do chores to have sex with her.
Well, now metrosexual just means you dress in a metro way.
He was
like a teabagger.
Ex-cop, and now he goes and gets.
No, it doesn't mean you're gay or anything.
And stuff.
Who said gay? I said teabagger.
That's right. One lady wouldn't.
Larry of Fort Myers, the Jay Thomas
Show.
Can
I say something first?
Sure.
Because we were complimenting Garrett earlier, and we continue to compliment Garrett. I have it on good word that the Me and Vinny show were smacking Garrett around this morning.
They were, I heard, too.
Okay, it's time to do some bitch smacking of our own.
No, wait a minute. They have this Michael Billy guy. They got this Michael Billy guy. Now I have to be honest with you. I don't know anything about
I defend my Garrett.
I don't know anything about this channel. I don't care about anybody but myself, and I haven't cared about anybody but myself for many, many years.
Jay?
And what? I don't care about anybody but myself.
Jay?
Yes?
Garrett is our new and bestest producer.
He is. He's great.
We are coming to his defense.
Yes,
and that is the end of it.
But we said things about this Michael Billy guy because they run these promos, and he tells you to shave your toes and all this stupid stuff. Here's what I say to the channel, and I'm sure that whoever runs it is listening. That's fine to do this Michael Billy guy thing, but at least run Garrett doing stuff and the producer of Covino and Rich doing stuff. Because whatever this Michael Billy is saying gets many more complaints at jthomas.com and right into Sirius than it does compliments. Now, he may be loved over there in that other show, but he's not a part of this show. So I don't want him to be a part of the show.
Well, let me tell you.
If you're going to force that guy on this show in a strategic promotional thing, that's fine. But have Garrett slobbering on the microphone and have his ideas, which are, I think, just as important, and have somebody from Covino and Rich, who isn't the normal, on-the-air personality, have their producer do the same thing. So that's all I ask.
Yeah, well,
but
these
don't
guys
run something in rotation that gets more complaints.
These guys have a new enemy.
Yes.
And his name is Rodney Lee. Okay?
Conover, that's right. No, but we said stuff about the guy, so we're
going to say a lot more.
No, we provoked him. We provoked him to say something.
They have unleashed terror, and its name
I don't want to talk about it because
its name is Rodney Lee.
To me. It's uninteresting to me.
It's not about interesting at this point. It's about defending my producer.
He's as aggravating in his promotions as this woman for Progressive Insurance, who they're actually trying to make into some minor star or whatever. I don't know what the deal is.
I like her.
God, I don't. Can't stand her.
I'd like to bang her.
Larry.
I got your Progressive name, baby.
Flo. Larry of Fort Myers. Hello, Larry.
I have to speak to Rodney's sense of history.
Hey, Larry, how are you, man?
I'm good, thank you. When Lincoln was
just
elected,
in Fort Myers
three-way
last
election.
week.
When Lincoln was elected, it was a three-way election.
Lincoln?
And he won by less of a percentage than Clinton.
Did he? Okay.
So that was your first Republican president.
I stand corrected, my friend.
Okay.
Okay. Also,
I was just in Fort Myers, and I had dinner on top of that hotel, that beach where you can go up to the top.
On top of Flo?
and right on top of Flo. Mm-hmm. And you can, it's got the glass things, and you can what's the name of that hotel? And they've got the restaurant on top of it in Fort Myers Beach.
I don't go down there. I actually live in Tampa, but I'm here on business.
Oh, okay. So. Right. I lived in Tampax.
Larry, thank you very much. Rodney, of course, spews with factual
I was trying to do a punchline there, Jay.
Yeah. Stay where you are.
And it was this. I lived in Tampax for a period.
We will have the main producer of this marriage ref,
executive producer, yeah,
and the author of a book called Undateable. And she will tell men why they're undateable. Now, when she comes on here, you will not hear the same comments that we've been making prior to her coming on here. And Rodney Lee Conover, why don't you tell people why we will change our attack completely? Tell them.
Because we're givers.
No, because she's an executive producer, and maybe in the future we might need her.
And that.
That's it. So we'll have the executive producer of the marriage ref. And by the way, I always get these emails. Why don't you have Jerry Seinfeld? Why don't you have Madonna? Why don't you have Larry David? Why don't you have these recognizable stars? We invite them on, and they won't come on.
You know why?
Why?
Chicken.
Whatever. But the other people will come on, so we're having on who we can have on, okay? I don't ever get the big names, okay? We get... You know, like Howard had the 3 women on that had actually slept with Tiger Woods. We had 3 women on who wished they had slept with Tiger Woods. That's a whole different guest bag we have here. If ever we got really important and famous, it might ruin us.
We could get someone that slept with Cat Stevens, maybe.
We could get somebody that slept with Cat Stevens. That's
right. Who dogged the bounty hunter?
Somebody who slept with somebody who has an animal name, you know, in their name. Okay, it's the Jay Thomas Show with Rodney Lee Conover. We're going to have the executive producer of The Marriage Ref, which is Jerry Seinfeld's new show. And did she write? No. Then another woman. Well, no, wait a minute.
They co-authored.
Then they wrote Undateable.
Correct.
Yeah.
The other woman is a famous interior designer.
Yeah.
Apparently.
You know, look, they can write all the books they want to, and they can say anything they want to say, but I will say the same thing Rodney says, and the same thing that every guy says when you're playing golf with them or hanging out with them or whatever, is women just don't get it. We are shallow.
We are not shallow. We're simple.
We're simple.
Yeah.
That's another word for it. We're simple. It's very easy, and he is correct. And you just rub us.
You know what occurred to me, though, Jay?
What?
Everything else in the world, I don't care if you're talking about technology, cars, houses, vacation stuff, everything else in the world, simpler is better. When you go to start your car, you turn the key and it goes on. Simple. Mm-hmm. Your TV, you push a button, doors on. Simple. Except men. Suddenly, simple means bad. I don't get that. Hey, you push my button, I get a boner. Simple.
Well, I'll tell you what
That's better.
No,
you don't want complicated. Hey, what if you bought a new car and it came with a pair of nipples and you had to play with the nipples for a half hour before the fucking thing would start up? You'd go, this is ridiculous.
I wouldn't open with that if I were you.
What do you mean? It kills.
It's very funny. I wouldn't open with our next guest with that.
Oh, no, not with the next guest, of course.
Here's the problem, and Christina, you can join us on this. It's that...
what if you used your iPhone and afterwards you had to cuddle with it or it wouldn't work for 2 weeks?
Christina,
you'd say that's fucking ridiculous.
For centuries, Christina, women were, treated like chattel, and they were possessions. They couldn't vote until, I guess, the 1920s in this country. They had to walk behind men, even in the Middle East. You see it, even in the Orthodox Jewish realm. Women are second-class citizens and everything else. And so, I mean, will you not admit on some level that the control of a man in the relationship goes back to the centuries that you didn't have control?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
But, Christina,
If you only
Get on
knew.
the microphone, Christina.
I'm on it.
Pretend it's a penis you're interested in.
Hey, Jay.
Get on it.
Jay.
That's very disrespectful.
Jay.
What?
An apology immediately.
Very disrespectful.
Immediately.
Who even says I like penis anymore? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Well,
you want to
actually,
take
Jay,
a break and then come back with the
Jay,
guest?
you
Is that
got-
what you're saying, Jay?
Yes.
You got Christina to say the word penis, so I take it back.
I sure
that was
did.
good.
Okay. It's the Jay Thomas Show with Rodney Lee Conover and Christina.
In that grown-ups play, dating means acting in a silly way.
Well, you've certainly read about it. It's on NBC, The Marriage Ref, and of course, there's a book out there called Undateable. Ellen, how do we pronounce your last name?
Rakuten.
Rakuten. I'm going to have to R-A-C-K.
No. You're not even close. And you want to know something?
No, Rakuten. That's how I'm writing it. No. I'm doing it phonetically.
He's doing a phonetic thing, so he won't forget.
You know what I'm thinking? Your rack is a 10.
I know, it's a 10. Guess what? It's actually spelled T-E-N, so my rack is a 10.
That's what I just said. My rack is a 10.
That's right.
All right. So Ellen
Already with the arguing. I told you, Jay, let me handle this interview.
You come on here and start arguing with me, and we're talking about the friggin' marriage ref, okay?
Maybe we need one. We need a radio ref.
And then your good friend Ann Coyle and you together, did you both write Undateable?
We did. And can I just make an exclusive announcement right here and now on your show?
Sure.
Oh, God. Okay, I am on. So here's the deal. So we wrote this book. We really love it. And this book is really because we love men. And anybody who's ever been on a date has gone through their own undateable story. And we interviewed hundreds of women and all that. But now I have this new mission, okay? Besides, of course, we want everybody to read the book. I'm married. Ann's my best friend. She's single. And I have now am launching a campaign starting here and now called Find Ann a Man. So, hi, Ann. Are you on the radio, Ann? Okay.
I'll tell you something.
The search is over, Jay.
Yeah, I don't think the men... Now, Rodney Lee Conover is a man, and he's single. Rodney, this is Ann. Ann,
hi,
this
Ann.
is Rodney.
Rodney, here's what needs to happen.
Rodney, are you wearing jorts?
Am I wearing what?
Jorts.
Shorts? Yes, I'm wearing shorts.
No, jorts.
Oh, jeez. Rodney, they're not jean shorts, are they?
No, they're like,
You dress like shit, Rodney, so
Oh,
they'll never...
fuck you. I'm having a conversation.
Rodney, here's what we need to do, Rodney.
Quit
seriously.
cock-blocking me,
Rodney,
Thomas.
what kind of shorts are you wearing?
You know, like the shorts, what do they call them with all the pockets?
Ugly? Like the
Cargo?
I'm wearing cargo shorts.
Okay, cargo shorts, that's cute. Okay, so here's what's going to happen, Rodney. Because Ann is like 5'10", and whenever I say...
Oh, my God, I love her.
Hold on, this is what I tell Ann all the time. If you ever feel bad about yourself, just put a bikini on and look yourself in the mirror. Okay, so here's what I think, Rodney, it would be great. On Dateable.com, I think you need to submit yourself for the Find Ann a Man campaign that I'm now launching.
I don't do that.
Well, you just email me later.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you a story that's absolutely true. I cast and produced a film that had more female roles than male roles, by the way.
Yes.
And there was a rule: no women under 5'9". That's how much I love tall women.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, this could be it.
I'm in luck.
You know why? I love kissing up. I'm 5'9".
Okay,
so 5'10" is
sexy.
perfect.
We like you. You're very dateable.
Well,
Kissing
sometimes
up.
I climb up on a ladder so he can kiss my ass because I'm shorter than he is. So
You're dateable.
So I got the job.
What else?
Now-
Wait, can I have some other questions about you?
Sure.
All right, I need to know a couple things.
Go.
Give me, and I know you're going to get made
Why
fun
are
of
you
here.
questioning Rodney?
Hey, Jay,
if Ann's interested? No.
Jay,
Why doesn't Ann do the questioning?
Did the attention go off of you for a moment, Jay?
Ann does not know how to do this for herself. I need
That's
to help
right.
her.
She needs a
Okay,
rest.
what kind of shoes do you wear on a regular basis?
Oh, my God.
I have like black dress shoes usually.
Okay, that's with shorts?
No. I thought you meant
He
when I go
wears
out.
shitty sandals.
I thought
that
you meant
he
when I
should have
go out.
Given to Goodwill 10 years ago.
Hey, would you not listen to Jay and let me answer the damn question?
You like toe fungus?
Okay.
Do you wear
When I
you
go
don't
out-
wear socks with your sandals, do you?
No.
Do
come
you
on.
wear mandals? Do you wear mandals?
I don't know what that is.
That's a man sandal. What kind of sandals do you wear?
Skechers.
Oh boy!
God.
All right. Well, you know what? Though?
Let's talk about the book. Let's talk about the book.
Hold on a second.
I live in California,
Why do you
girl.
base who you're going to be with.
We don't. Every girl likes a good makeover.
You just said, why the Skechers sandals thing is bad.
Guys, here's the truth. And then Ann's going to take over because she's dating and I'm not. The truth is this. Every girl, you're married. Somebody's married. I'm know this. Every woman likes a good makeover. Okay, at some point in most men's life, they stop buying their own clothes. And the fact is that all we're saying, the book is split up into 3 chapters. What not to wear, what not to say, what not to do, and the 4th kind of bonus is what not to be. So this is not a judgmental thing because we don't want an overly coiffed guy. There's something weird and creepy about that, too.
Right.
Well, you just hit me again.
Have you been to a mall lately and seen what real Americans look like?
Yes, and that's the problem.
Have you looked at the book?
That's why I'm single.
I got the book in front of me. I got to tell you something, but there's a woman attached.
Anne's kind of a looker, Jay. Do you see her picture?
They're gorgeous, but there's a woman attached to this unfortunately dressed individual male next to them.
Hey, will money overcome the sandals thing?
It depends.
Yeah.
What kind of money are we talking about?
Well, we can buy.
We're talking about sandal destroying.
Let me ask you a couple of questions about life and people. Why is it?
You'll be saying this. Come on over, pick me up in your BMW with your sandals.
Why is it that Tiger Woods is a sex addict, but George Clooney is not a sex addict?
Well, George Clooney's not married.
Right, but why wouldn't they both be addicted to sex?
But he sleeps with lots of women.
But we don't know that he might sleep with a lot of women, but we don't. He's not in a committed relationship and then goes elsewhere.
That's like saying that an alcoholic is not an alcoholic if he's single. That doesn't make sense. You're either addicted or you're not.
I don't even understand. No,
you're either addicted to sex or you're not.
You guys,
well, you know what? I think if you want to get into it, the definition really of any kind of addiction is if it interferes with, it makes your life unmanageable.
Didn't seem to interfere with Tiger's life.
I think it did. I think the fact that he has 2 little kids and a wife and his life is now
they weren't complaining.
She wasn't complaining
until it got in the news. Nobody was complaining.
Guys,
she didn't complain until the text came.
How do you know? How do you know what happened?
Because
it came out in the paper, and the next day she started complaining.
Guys, we have no idea what went on in their house.
Oh, come on.
Oh, my goodness.
You're going to tell me that Tiger Woods' wife had no idea? Come on.
Well, she may have had an idea, and maybe and I'm sure she didn't like it. But the deal is he made the agreement to be married, to be faithful. George Clooney has not said to anybody, I will be faithful. I mean, if he wants to be a serial dater, that's his business.
You just said that we don't know about Tiger and his wife and the agreement they had. We don't.
Guys,
right.
Yeah.
Here's what we do know. He had 2 children. He came in front of the public and he said that he betrayed her and he became obsessed with his own fame and believed
was
his
to
own
get
press.
endorsements. We all know that.
Can we not talk about Tiger? Because, for me, here's my feeling about Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
Until this happened, and I'm a Tiger, my husband's a golfer, Tiger was in my top 10 dateable until this happened.
Really?
He was married. How could you put him top 10 dateable?
I think he looks like a Cabbage Patch Kid.
But how can you put him in the dateable when he's married?
My husband's married. I'm married to my husband. My husband's
can't put
really
married
dateable.
people in dateable.
You can't put a married person in dateable.
Sure.
Well, you can't date him.
It's another word for it's a synonym for sexy.
Yeah, here's the thing. Is my husband...
How does a gold card fit into that?
Very, very sexy.
Nice. Okay, it's me and Ann. I don't care. Hey, Ann, the sandals just went in the circular trash can.
Woohoo!
And here's the thing,
My
guys.
favorite sandals.
What happens with your husbands is that they can become unsexable.
Right.
So the moment you all of a sudden turn into your dad or Homer Simpson, it's all of a sudden men have...
You know what causes that?
No, I'm just saying is that men have high expectations. You don't get fat. For women, the 40's the new 30. We got to keep ourselves up, and guys have to do the same thing.
We're going to a break, but we will be back with Ellen Racketon and Ann Coyle. Ellen is the executive producer of NBC's Marriage Ref and one of the co-authors with Ann of Undateable. It's the Jay Thomas Show with Rodney Lee Conover.
And kind of dating Rodney now.
And Ann's dating Rodney. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Very
I love a tall woman with a sense of humor.
Part of that teabag party? Either one of the ladies?
Hey, you keep a civil tongue in your mouth.
What's the name of that party?
Civil tongue in your mouth.
Undateable.
Not a bag.
Broadcasting to the entire United States and Canada, drug dealers in Mexico, people, ships at sea, and around the world at Sirius XM, and of course on the internet you can listen to us, and there are millions of you out there, and on the Jay Thomas Show with Rodney Lee Conover today, Ellen Racketon, who is the executive producer and co-author with Ann Coyle. She's the executive producer of The Marriage
Which, by the
Referendum.
way, airs tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern on NBC.
How's that show doing?
It's great. The viewers love it, and the ratings are great, and our NBC is up 45% at 10 o'clock, so,
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so all's well, and Jerry Seinfeld is I worked for Oprah for a really long time, and of course love her. He is the ultimate fantastic guy.
When did Jerry wake up and decide he didn't have quite enough money and should get a network show?
Oh, you know what? Stop.
You see, Ann, how funny he is? You laughed at that, Ann. You're made for each other, you two.
Yeah, I know. I feel love.
And there's people struggling to get their own show on television.
You know
but a
what?
guy who has hundreds of millions of dollars needs to get another show.
Okay, guys, stop. Here's the deal.
I'm not stopping.
Why can we not applaud somebody who doesn't need the money, who, by the way, is not really taking a big fee for this?
I don't
try to do
care.
something new, so be nice.
I won't be nice.
See, he's not nice, is he? Ellen, he's not a nice person.
Right.
Hey, I take the bull by the balls, my friend, and I'm telling you right now, celebrities should not do commercials. They've already got millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. They should leave that to actors who need money. Mm-hmm. And people who have hundreds of millions of dollars shouldn't use up a network slot that I could use for my great idea.
Well,
what's your idea?
Yeah, what's your idea?
It's called Ann Meets Rodney.
Well,
Rodney actually wanted to take a camera, put it into an insane asylum.
You're a little mean.
Listen, wait a minute. I'm not joking. He wants to put a camera inside of an insane asylum and watch the poor mentally challenged people screw each other. That was his idea.
Wow, that's twisted.
You guys are hard.
That is some twisted essay.
Hey, gals, you're on a comedy show. Okay?
Hold on. Now, let me ask a question about the dating now, and this is the one I don't understand. One of them is people, you said tighty whities are a deal breaker.
Yes.
I don't wear boxer shorts. I wear, I guess, tighty whities. I wear briefs. I'm well
built. Well, no difference between briefs and tighty whities.
What's a tighty whitey? What is that?
Yeah.
Okay, briefs. Are your briefs kind of like little shorts, or are they like?
Do they touch your thigh at all?
No, whatever you buy.
Yeah, my briefs touch my thigh.
It holds my testicles.
They look like mini shorts.
It keeps me together.
You just answered your own question.
What?
But they're still tight.
It holds your testicles together, and you can see that.
Well, they're still tight, though.
But that's because
there's no way I can. There's no underwear.
When they're hanging around in there.
There's no underwear manufactured that wouldn't show my testicles.
We can't explain why, but boxers are just much sexier.
They aren't. They make you look like your dad.
No, girls love it.
We love them.
Well, how come Calvin Klein's
a lot of girls that don't love them.
Big billboard with the giant gay guy in his package?
If you're David Beckham, you can wear them.
Well, then I can wear.
What about the big giant gay guy on the billboard in Times Square with his huge package?
Yeah.
That's 9 feet long.
Right, but that's not towards women.
Have you seen
that's
his
towards
abs?
other men. We're just taking a woman's.
You're
point
saying
of view.
that Calvin Klein's underwear are just for gay men?
No, we're not. We're saying that those guys can pull off a lot of things that the normal guy that's out there trying to get a date who might want a few tips. We interviewed hundreds of women, and, it's just not as sexy. You don't have to agree.
Once you get down to the underwear, isn't the date pretty successful?
No, that's what we're saying. Everything could be going great, and then
I have never in my life,
and then we see some tighty whities.
I have never been in my underwear with a woman and had her say, "Oh my God, we were going to screw each other's brains out, but you got the wrong
underwear on."
Well, maybe the lights were off.
Okay, now Ann and Ellen, by the way, watch The Marriage Ref tonight on NBC.
Yeah, it's super funny.
Okay, and go buy the book, Undateable. Now listen, Rodney Lee Conover, for years, has been on this kick, and we have a woman coming on before the show is over that lives like a cave woman and believes in the paleo diet and everything else.
Oh, my Lord. That's dateable. Wow.
He thinks that women shaving themselves is unnatural and unsexy.
Who said that, Rodney?
Rodney.
And I think that men who enjoy that, I think they're pedophiles. I think you want to date an underage woman.
Wait, Rodney.
What?
Rodney.
That's what I said.
Rodney. Our romance is going to hell in a handbasket.
It might be going to hell in a handbasket, but I don't suggest growing it out like a jungle. I'm just suggesting that if it's completely shaven, that's kind of creepy.
Oh, yeah, I agree
Really?
with you. I agree. You mean
On a
like the
woman?
full Brazilian?
Yes.
On a woman.
Are you talking about the full Brazilian?
Yes.
Are we
Yes.
talking down there, or are we talking underarm?
Well, we're not talking we're not that much hair under your arm. Forget it. No.
Shave the underarms.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about like legs and arms. I was
No.
What do you want? Some
We're
sort of
talking about
wildebeest?
below the equator.
Yeah, I agree. I think
I
about
agree.
it.
She said, does Rodney like a wildebeest?
If she's 5'10" or better.
You guys are like X-rated.
This is a comedy
Hold
show.
it, Ellen. We're not
Where'd you
just
think we were,
X-rated,
Ellen?
but if we feel like it, we can say, go fuck yourself.
Which is so fantastic.
So you can do anything here. Not, you know what? And listen, on the marriage ref, you know what I would love one of these guys to say? My wife doesn't suck me off enough. Jerry, help me, and let's see what funny stuff comes out of their mouth then. Now, that's a show.
I think NBC would have a problem with that.
They would? How about my husband wants
take
sex?
it easy.
No, this is the truth.
Jay,
This is what I don't get.
Jay.
No, this is the truth.
You're borderlining on creepy.
No, I'm not.
No,
I've been
let
married
him be
for
creepy. Let him
22 years, and if I woke up every morning and
In other
my
words, he
wife
hasn't
and
been on a
I
date in
knocked
22
each
years.
other off, I would be
Knocking
floating
each other
through
off?
the day. That's right.
What does that
Men
mean?
Does that
are
mean have
simple.
sex?
Men are simple.
Does that
Men
mean
are, I say they're shallow.
They're
And
not
women
shallow, they're
want us to
simple.
be deeper than we could ever
Why do
wish to
women
be.
want us to be complicated?
I don't
Ellen,
understand
I put that
it
to you.
either. I don't
that's
get it.
interesting. So you're saying if you woke up every morning and had sex with your wife, like you would have no problem?
None.
Zero.
Interesting.
And if she
I think
wanted
that's
some
true. Can I say
crazy
this?
thing to happen at the house, like
It's free. It feels
I'm going to
good. What's wrong
redo
with
the
it?
building in the back. If I had gotten laid pretty much every day for a week, she could build a whole nother house in the back and have
you're
a jet
right.
plane land
You know,
on
you're
it.
right. And you know what's interesting about you saying that? You are so right, and I'll tell you why you're right.
What?
One of the things that has come up during the course of this book, because we have a chapter in the book why your own guy friends find you undateable, and when we talked about it, what they all said to us was, look, if we think we're going to get laid at the end of the night, we're going to overlook the ugly shirt. Okay? So guys tend, as you just said, I know in my own marriage, if we've had sex, there's going to be a happier day around the house.
Exactly.
Right.
You give me 5 minutes in the morning, and I'll go out work 2 jobs, and I'll bring all the money home to you straight home. I won't stop at the bar or hang out with my friends.
But I'm going to say one thing, Ellen,
And you can get
you
your
and
time
Ann
down
can
after
speak.
a while.
I'm going to say one thing.
You're right.
But one thing, I certainly will not say this to my wife out loud, and my wife does not listen to this show.
Good.
I'm sure she knows I feel this way. But listen, the thing is for some reason, the statements that men make about sex seem to make women feel demeaned, and we don't understand that.
Well, I think it's probably the words that you use.
Yeah, it's probably the words. It's like, you know what? It's like, I think
If people are saying things like, I'd love to get my rocks off, it's just a little
No,
gross.
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, we're not going to say that. We're not that
say
stupid.
We're not idiots.
Or tap that. We're not talking about you guys, but we're saying in the book, it's like, we heard some guy a couple weeks ago say, tap that ass. Like,
Yeah, I'm
really?
going to go hit that and tap that ass.
Okay, Ellen or Ann, give me a few phrases that mean tap that ass, but that are perfectly dateable.
Okay, here's the truth. You know what the truth is?
Go.
Just do, like, no girl wants to say, can I kiss you? Just do it. Like,
Yeah.
there's a
No need to
confidence in that.
Hey,
You
Ann,
mean, wait a
Ann,
minute. Now,
you and I
I've
are
used
gonna get
that in
along
my
great.
life. Wait a sec. I've used
You
that
and
in
I
my
are going to get along really good because
Wait
when
a
I want to
second.
kiss, I just say, come here,
Wait
babe.
one
I'm
second.
coming in.
Exactly.
Good.
When you're with a woman, now I'm married a long
Come
time.
here, baby.
You
Give
like
me some
her.
sugar.
There's
We don't want to
something-
hear come to Papa.
There's something
Give me
sexy
some
and
sugar,
sweet.
Ann. Give me some of that Annie sugar.
We don't
There's
want to hear
something
come
sexy
to Papa.
and sweet about saying, may I
I want to hold your hands in my hair just for a couple seconds, baby.
Okay, that's kind of borderlining on, like I don't know yet.
But Ann didn't say that.
No, I know.
You want to smell my sandals?
Are your sandals still in the wastebasket?
I threw them out, Ann.
Good.
I threw them out.
Good.
And you
We're
know what?
moving forward.
I
So,
squirted,
Ellen,
lighter fluid on it, and I lit it on fire.
All right, here we go. Hold on. Ellen, you're doing the marriage ref.
Jay, do we approve of this Ann Rodney relationship?
No.
Okay.
Hey, Jay, why are you always cock blocking me?
Wow.
If somebody wanted you, they'd have taken you by now. And if somebody wanted Ann, they would have taken them. There's something wrong with Ann and Rodney, Ellen.
I asked you a direct question. Why are you always cock blocking?
Okay, okay, excuse me, Rodney.
I'm talking to a man. Ellen, I'm not talking to you.
Rodney, cock blocking is really vile and is an undateable term.
But I'm talking to Jay, not you.
I know. Okay, well, let's act like we're not here. Go ahead, boys.
Jay, why are you always cock blocking me?
Because I feel badly that when people see you and they see that you've got this little melon head and these glasses and this sandals and a football jersey, a Bears football jersey, and cargo shorts, and I go, why do you dress like this?
Are you wearing a jersey, Rodney?
Do you hear this cock blocking?
I don't know. I think the Rodney Ann radio show is next. I don't. Jay, do you like Rodney?
You know, no. Ellen, you don't let Ann get a word in wedgewise, and Jay doesn't let me get a fucking word in. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Okay, Rodney, Jay, do you like Rodney?
No.
Because I love Ann.
Mm-hmm.
I don't particularly like Jay either.
We don't like him.
Wow.
That's why we're here. And he's a Republican.
Did you guys
he's a
read the
conservative.
book?
He's a libertarian.
I'm not a Republican. I'm a
libertarian.
Oh, libertarian. That's like slang for crazy ass.
Well, I'm not libertarian, and don't listen to Jay. And
That's
Jay's
like,
more
libertarian. That sounds like a militia member to me.
Between the two of us, between the two of us, only one of us owns a gun, and his name is Jay.
I'm the only gun owner here.
I own a gun.
You do? Yeah.
Ann, you own a gun?
Wait a second.
Yep.
Oh, well,
Ellen, you're shocked by the fact that Ann owns a gun. Hold on, Rodney.
I wear it in my boot.
Ooh.
Do you really have a gun in your boot?
I do.
That's fabulous.
Jay, come on, you got to admit, this is a match made in heaven.
Oh, my God. If you had all of your clothes off and just the boots with the gun, I wouldn't even need to touch you. I'd just sit in a chair across the room.
And I'm
what if you got your ball shot off, though?
I mean, whoa. Yowza.
Well, your gun could go off during a sexual encounter.
If you ever met Jay and your clothes were off, you'd go for the gun pretty quick, trust me.
You guys are brutal.
Yep, I'm packing
I don't know
heat.
what. Look, let's take this show back down to its normal level.
Okay.
Let's go back to Undateable, because that's the book.
Ellen Racketon and Ann Coyle. Tonight, watch, of course, The Marriage Ref. It's a cleaner version of what you've heard today.
And what do you do besides being a great author?
I am also an interior designer.
So you've got good taste.
I like to think so.
You could fix me up.
I did Ellen's apartment.
You could totally fix me up. You could tell me what to wear.
I know. I could do a whole revamp on you.
You know, a lot of men typically complain, oh, the women, they're just trying to change me. And I embrace it. I say, look, if a woman has good taste and I trust her, why wouldn't I want her to change me?
Right. I agree. And
change the hell out of me.
I don't know why it is, but women really, I think, are very visual, and I guess you can call part of it superficial. I mean, there is some data out there that says a woman makes a decision about a man within 20 seconds.
You know what our first date is going to be, Ann?
What?
I'm going to hand you my credit card, and I'm going to say, Ann, you go to the mall
and then I'm going to shoot you in the knee and run away.
Buy me some clothing and buy yourself some clothing.
Ellen, I have a marriage question for you.
Okay.
There are actually bets right now in England, and it's somewhere between 10-1 and 20-1, that Elin Woods, the wife, will not show up at the Masters during the 3-day tournament.
She's not going to go.
You do not think she will go?
No.
She could make a lot of money by betting the other side.
Yeah, that's right. She could throw the whole thing.
But so
because she needs the money, you know.
If she takes him back, do you think? I think, believe it or not, that unfortunately Tiger Woods is in that Michael Richards kind of a. For some reason, he did something in a bad week, and it's almost unforgivable what he did. And I don't know that it's wise for her to go back with him.
Yeah. Well,
but you know what she gets if he wins the Masters?
What?
What?
Half a green jacket. So it'll be nice.
And you know
so,
what he
Ellen,
gets if he
could you
doesn't
take the public humiliation of your husband having been with all of these filthy women? I mean, even if you loved your husband, would you not just take the $500 million and kind of move off as a 28-year-old woman and let life take you where it takes you?
Well, you're not going to like my answer, so don't yell. Don't just let me.
I'm not going to yell.
And then will you ask me?
And then ask Ann.
Yeah,
because
I'll ask you the same.
We won't yell, and we'll ask
and I think Ann's really, I'm not.
Ellen, we only have 5 more minutes.
Okay.
Give me a serious answer.
No more disclaimer.
Here's my answer.
Here we go.
Here's my answer.
Go ahead.
I don't know. They have 2 little kids.
I got to tell you, out of everything you were going to say,
I would have never guessed that.
That's the best answer.
You got
me. Ann, what's your answer?
Ann.
I could not take him back.
That's right.
I couldn't do it.
Because you're just giving him the green light to do it again.
No, it's not even that. It's just, I just don't know how, if someone acts like that you can ever have any respect. And I really feel like a lot of marriage is respect.
And if you and I were married, I wouldn't have time to fool around on you. We'd be so busy.
We'd be at the gun range.
Yeah.
You know what, Ellen? I know why you said I don't know, because you must be married a long time. I'm married 20 years. I bet you my wife would answer, I don't know also.
You know what?
You'd like to think that.
It's a dynamic. It's a dynamic about marriage.
I think this. I think, Ann's divorced. She's been through stuff. This is the only reason I said I don't know, and I know we don't have a lot of time, is because, I start getting very wound up, and, I don't think I could ever forgive and rebuild and whatever that would take and all that, but I just feel like, God, there's these little kids, and your dad's Tiger Woods, and what a nightmare that is, and maybe they could go to Sweden or something and go try to figure it out.
But it's like, would you ever want to have sex with him again? After he's been with all those...
Hey, Ann, he's really rich.
You heard what Ellen said? He's really rich, Ann.
I was just kidding.
Yeah, but, she could get half of everything he has.
Ann, but listen, Ann.
Yes.
Most guys said this, and they say this all the time. Well, he must have not been getting it at home. And here she is, absolutely gorgeous. Now, I think that's wrong. I think there's a dynamic in marriage and sex that is so odd that no one can explain it.
What do you mean?
She's this incredibly gorgeous woman, but she's had 2 kids, so she's tired.
Right.
So her hormones have been completely turned upside down. And after 2 kids, the therapists say this, there is some huge percentage of women that lose their interest in sex for some amount of time.
It's true, and you know what? It's a huge, huge problem in marriage, and no one ever talks about it. And I think what's sort of unfair is, if a guy would say, you know what, I need to have sex. If I don't get sex from you, I'm going to have to go elsewhere. And most women would go, ew, that's disgusting. I mean, I think it's a valid point. I mean, the whole point of being married is intimacy, both physical and emotional. And if that's not happening, that's what
she's got 2 little
happening.
kids. Even though they have nannies and money and everything else, I think she's probably a great mom. She has 2 little kids, and you know what that's about.
That's why I think this story was so upsetting. While here she is having children, she's exhausted, she's vulnerable, she's into building a family, and he's out there doing the exact opposite. That's what I think was so heartbreaking about it. It wasn't just a guy cheating on his wife. It was just 2 people at such opposite sides. I mean, it's so sad. I mean, here she is.
I have a feeling she may show up at the Masters. It's the oddest feeling. I have the oddest feeling, but
I don't think so.
Okay.
And you know what else I think? I think when he walks on that golf course, I think he's going to get people, the crowd's going to go crazy.
They can't.
No, they'll go crazy.
They're going to go crazy.
No, they're going to clap for him. But at the Masters, those tickets are from families, and if you do anything and they know who you are, not only do they take your position away from watching, they remove you from the ticket list, and you can never, ever,
if you clap?
If you do whatever they don't like, not clap, but if someone yells something, not only do they remove you, but you can never, ever have a ticket.
I think she meant go crazy in a good way.
Crazy
not a bad way.
Oh, in a good way.
Yeah, like I think they're just going to go nuts.
They're going to scream and clap and go, yeah, he's back.
Yeah, he's going to be fine. I mean,
I agree with
golf, he'll be fine.
Let's go to Stephen of Los Angeles before we say goodbye to Ellen Rakuten. Don't forget, the Marriage Rep is on tonight, 10 o'clock. It's a Jerry Seinfeld executive produced show along with Ellen. It's the Marriage Rep tonight. And the book that Ellen and Ann Coyle have written together is Undateable, funny, interesting, a great little read. Stephen of Los Angeles, you've been listening. What do you have to add to this?
I don't have much to add other than it's unfortunate that Tiger has got an addiction problem and it has to do with sex. But, I thought it did with the same thing.
His phone's breaking up. He said Tiger's problem is with sex? Is that what he said?
Wasn't sure what he
said.
Yeah,
we'll come back and do a whole Tiger show with you, okay?
Hey, Ellen, thank you very much. Good luck. Even though I don't think Jerry's a big fan of mine because every time he sees me, I act like I'm drunk, but I'm always pretending. But I think it's funny on some level.
That's a cute little fun thing.
Every time I see him, I pretend I'm drunk. I don't know why I do that.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know why.
Oh, my God.
Well, stop it.
Weird.
And he was sitting once with Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, they're good friends.
I know they are. And he's such a little pansy that he actually got frightened and moved his shoulder. And I hate pansies, so I can't stand him. But anyway, Ellen Rakuten and Ann Coyle, thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And go to undateable.com.
All right, we'll do it all.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Right.
Rodney, call me.
All right, Rodney, call Ann. It's the Jay Thomas Show.
Rodney, you call me. Bye.
No, I'm calling Tony. Thanks a lot,
Notice
Ellen.
nobody wants me to call them.
Well, not if you're going to pretend you're drunk.
Well, I'm not going through Ellen, I'll tell you that.
I only do that to Jerry.
I'm going right there.
All right, you guys, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
It's the Jay Thomas Show with Rodney, Lee Conover, and others. In a few minutes, we're going to have Melissa McEwen on. She's part of the caveman lifestyle in New York. She's a hunter-gatherer type person. She believes that we should live very much like the cavemen lived, and you will be surprised at some of the decisions that she has made in her life to live like a cave woman, and she does it for health reasons, I would believe. But she thinks that this is, and it's way past, being a vegetarian or not liking meat or whatever. It's really way back to what the cavemen would have done. And there's a group in a lot of large cities, but around the country, it's called the Paleo Lifestyle, and she will talk about that in a few minutes. Let me talk about dressing just for a moment, because I do travel a lot, and I think that casually or business-wise or whatever, you should find a style. You don't need to spend a lot of money on it. You should find a style that fits your body build or whatever, and you should wear clothing that makes you look pleasing. When I'm traveling across the country, most people do not check their bags. They carry whatever they're going to wear wherever they're going in a backpack or in some little tiny thing that fits in the overhead bin, right? That's why everybody looks like shit. Okay? Because nothing good is going to go in your backpack, and nothing interesting to wear when you get to your location is your destination is going to be fit into that little tiny thing you put over the over the headrest, right? Now, I check my bags because I like to wear nice clothes. And I have a limited amount of clothing, but one pair of pants will go with 5 or 6 different shirts and vice versa. And I have 3 suits, and I have 10 pair of shoes. That's about it. And I've been wearing the same
clothes.
Doesn't
sound very limited.
It is limited.
It's not limited. You have a ton of clothing.
No, but I have to
compared to the average person, you do not have a limited wardrobe.
Probably not.
Okay, then don't say I've limited
I buy
clothing.
really good stuff.
I've got tons of clothing. Start out.
You have too many clothes that don't look good on you.
No, I'm talking about
less clothes, and when you leave your house, no, you shouldn't wear some shitty sandals and some beat-up shorts and a
If you're going to the
t-shirt.
Starbucks, wear whatever the fuck you want.
You shouldn't do it. I'm not kidding.
Why?
Because it's too casual, and it's
nothing. Nothing is too casual for Starbucks.
Why not put on a brand new white shirt or completely white shirt with decent shorts and newer shoes?
I do that when it counts. When I'm going to the Starbucks, I could give a shit.
You never know when you're going to meet that person.
And you know what? If someone judges me by what I wear to the Starbucks, I'm not interested in a
Everybody
person
judges you by what you wear.
I'm not interested in people like that, Jay.
Now, Garrett, you see me you've seen me for the last 2 or 3 years. Don't you find the outfits
not enough, though.
What's that?
Not enough.
But seriously, don't you find when I'm in New York, I come in and I've taken some time putting an outfit together so that I look pleasing.
His wife did, in other words.
No, that's not true.
You
I
definitely have. And
I look pleasing.
And you've tried to spread that style to other people on the show.
God. And they didn't accept. I bought Sean Kelly once a really beautiful shirt, handmade.
Pink.
He took it back and got some underwear with the money or something like that.
Tidy whities.
He did. And what did I buy? I bought you a beautiful scarf, and you looked at it like somebody had just crapped in a box.
Well, first of all, you didn't buy it for me.
Yes, I did.
You bought it for Lou. And then he got fired right before,
that's
a joke.
Christmas. No, that's a joke.
That's exactly what happened.
I would have gotten Lou a head warmer because of that giant.
That is exactly correct. And
that's
Jay,
not true.
You're the type of person that finds a hat in the fucking street and wears it. So
That's true.
You got no business
I did find a very nice hat.
What to wear, all right? You look like an idiot for a week.
I found a really I washed it in hot water.
You looked like a fool, and everyone said so.
I found it to be recyclable. That's all. It was a perfectly good hat. It was laying in the street. I found 2 of them, by the way. That was one of my best times ever in New York.
Us fashion advice. Tell you what, guys, go out in the street and look in the gutter. You'll find great shit.
If you find a really nice hat in the street and you pick it up and you clean it, who cares? I shouldn't have told you where I got it, and you would have just been admiring it.
I was too busy laughing.
All right. President Barack Obama. President Barack
Obama. That was the funniest give up sign I've ever heard.
Has been charitable in his comments about Tiger Woods returning to the Masters tournament. He actually went on Fox News, and he said that...
a liberal on Fox News.
That's unbelievable. I think that, Tiger has acknowledged that he betrayed his family, and it's a personal issue, and he has to work it out. I hope they've worked it out, and I'm sure he's still going to be a terrific golfer. So there you go. Then, of course, there were some other emails that came in that they didn't read at Fox, and I have one of them here, and it's an unfortunate one. Dear President Obama, do you think if they mixed you and Tiger Woods together, would you make a full black person? That was one that wasn't not read to the public.
I think you got to set that one up more, that they're both half black.
Really? I don't think so.
I didn't hear even a snicker.
I don't even know it even cared. When your time is up, it's up. A Georgia man, a young man, was running, listening to his iPod on a deserted beach at Hilton Head Island, Georgia.
Oh, God, I love this story. I really do.
A single-engine plane was flying, and its propeller came off. Now, the first thing you're thinking is the propeller struck the person.
Right.
No, the propeller came off. There was quite a bit of clanging and banging, and the propeller fell into the ocean. Now, of course, the guy cuts the engine off because it's of no use to the plane, and he begins gliding the single-engine plane over Palmetto Dunes in Beaufort County, Georgia. And meanwhile, Robert Gary Jones of Woodstock, Georgia, was jogging with the iPod, listening to various tunes, and the plane glided into him and killed him as he was jogging. The guy and the 2 guys in the plane are safe, and Mr. Jones, Robert Gary Jones, is dead. And now, Rodney, I got to tell you something. That is your time to go. When a single-engine plane, and of course he had the iPod on, he couldn't hear anything.
The odds of a plane hitting you.
It is 20 million to 1. That's what they've said.
At least.
It's 20 million to 1. You have better odds of winning a state lottery than you do of getting struck by a gliding single-engine plane.
And you're moving. It hit a moving target.
Oh, and they could not, and he couldn't hear it because of the iPod. Right?
Now, if he could have heard it, do you think he could have looked and dodged out of the way?
Oh, he would have heard it coming down because you could hear it clanging and banging.
I know, but do you think he could have successfully dodged out of the way? Well,
absolutely. All he had to do was
running.
No, but all he had to do was either stop jogging or just run out of the wingspan. You're only talking about it.
But what if the plane would have banked right at the last second and got him anyway?
No, the guys were yelling out of the window. They were screaming. You know what they need to do with an airplane? Put a horn on it.
or they need to have their own station on the iPod, the airplane.
The guy,
station.
I believe, they don't have a speaker on. You need some sort of a speaker or something. Hey, we're coming, something. I'm sure they're going to pass it now because of this. And of course,
But that wouldn't have helped. He had the iPod on.
Yeah, he couldn't hear anything.
The speaker wouldn't have helped.
His neighbors have said he's loved his wife. He leaves, 2 children, very sad. He loved his family. He loved the beach. He loved being fit. I'm sure one of them's going to say, this is the way, Robert wanted to die.
What was he listening to, I wonder, in the iPod?
Garrett, what do you have that we found his iPod? It floated up on the beach. Do we have one of the songs? We found Robert Gary Jones
actually listening to.
These are the tunes he had
when he got hit.
Downloaded when he got hit
by a plane.
Mm-hmm. Play one of them. What are you doing? What is this?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm playing.
What do you mean?
This is what he was listening to?
What do you mean you don't know what you're playing? What's the matter with you?
Garrett, you don't think you might have been listening to Fly Away by John Denver or something like that?
What is the matter with you, Garrett? What are you doing?
It's River Deep, Mountain High. I don't know.
No, Fly Away by John Denver, Leaving on a Jet Plane. We talked about this.
Oh. Aeroplane by Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Come on, what's the matter with you?
You guys talked about it.
Well, when we're talking about it, we're obviously setting a bit up, you idiot.
No, I don't have the ability to play music.
Let's break down the fourth wall. Rodney goes, you have any songs about airplanes? And I named some, and that was it.
Well, now we're doing the story that fits that bit, you idiot. Now you've ruined everything.
I thought it was a thing Rodney was writing for someone else or something.
We have a meeting before the show, and we set the bits up, okay?
Yeah, I'm writing for another show right now.
We set the bits up. And then I do the news story that has the punchline, the music, and everything else. I mean, how stupid can one human being be?
Garrett, let's go around the horn on this one.
Okay.
What?
All right, Garrett is off in a phone booth somewhere. It's completely sealed off from the rest of the world. I'm going to go around the horn.
Christina, get ready.
Christina?
Yeah.
I'm on the microphone like a penis. Go ahead.
You're on the microphone with a penis.
Could you call me later and say that in low tones?
What does that mean?
You told me before to get on the microphone.
Oh, see?
Aren't you here, Jay?
It's a goddamn callback, Jay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's right, it is a callback. Oh, yes.
Christina.
Sorry, go ahead. Round the horn.
Do you think Garrett should have been ready with the funny bit music that has to do with airplanes?
I mean,
yes or no?
To be fair, if he was a mind reader, he'd be working on the boardwalk.
The witness will answer the question, yes or no?
You mean to tell me, Garrett, that when I started talking to the guy hit by the
Christina,
airplane,
yes or no?
It didn't.
Do you think he should have been ready with
the, that's what they wanted the music for?
Christina?
Yes. I just
Jay, what do you
my
think?
job, sorry.
Oh, I think he's an idiot. Of course he should have known.
I think he should have been ready too. Okay, let's bring Garrett back.
All right.
Oh, hey guys, how's it going?
Stay where you are, the Jay Thomas Show.
There's been
an unshaved cave woman is next. Hit a button, Garrett.
It's the Jay Thomas Show.
Just run out of the booth.
A great way to waste 3 hours. It's the afternoon show on Stars 2.
What'd you do?
Sirius 108 XM 139 and on the Sirius XM iPhone and BlackBerry app.
Well, it ain't no different than the caveman time when a man in a suit made you walk the line. We got beer to bang, we got shoes to shine. It ain't no different than the caveman time.
Go to huntgatherlove.com. Melissa McEwen, welcome to the Jay Thomas Show with Rodney Lee Conover. How are you, Melissa?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. Now, Melissa, I'm looking at this, and of course, I've read about you before, and you believe, and I don't disagree with you at all, that we should be living more like the cavemen lived, cavewomen lived, by eating what? I mean, do you eat raw meat?
I love raw meat. I mean, it's not as unusual as people think. I mean, you can get a good steak tartare at any nice restaurant, and I love raw fish too. So,
but when you buy a steak at a grocery store, you don't cook it when you bring it home.
Well, it depends on the steak. If I know the animal, if I know the farmer that raised this animal and the butcher I respect, then I will eat it raw. You know, sometimes I even, butcher my own animals, so of course I'll eat it raw. I mean,
you would take a giant knife and blood flying everywhere, and you would butcher your own animal.
Oh, I've done it several times now. I've done it in a professional slaughterhouse, and I've done it, I've hunted before, too.
Now, that's unusual. You're doing this because the cave people did this, right?
Well, I mean, it's not about idealizing cave people. It's about being healthy and eating food that humans are meant to eat.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so, when did you come to this conclusion? Were you sick? Did you have diseases or something? And you said, I have to eat differently?
Yeah, I was really sick. I was following, the typical diet where, women eat this Special K bullshit cereal and, eat low fat and, not eating animals, eating vegetarian. And I was vegan for a while. I suffered from terrible stomach problems, headaches, low energy. And, I was in these anthropology classes and I was like, these people are eating all these, like, wild boar. They're not suffering from the problems I'm suffering from. I'm in horrible pain. So I decided to try eating like them, and, I've done it ever since, and it's worked really well for me.
Now, and Rodney Lee Conover, who may not be speaking with me, who's also the co-host here. Rodney,
what do you mean not speaking with you?
Well, we had a little argument a few moments ago. You weren't a part of it, Melissa. It's all right.
You're like
now, Rodney,
you're like a wife.
What would you do if you went out with Melissa, and at her home, you watched her butcher an animal, and then you two ate it raw that evening?
I read about this character here we got here as a guest, and I tell you, I agree with
the character. I wouldn't call her a character.
I think she's a character, and I mean that in a good way. Right. And I think she's onto something here. I like the idea.
Well, thanks. I told my dad about this diet, and he's lost 50 pounds so far. So, I mean, the diet that works well for a lot of people.
No, wait, didn't cave people die like when they're 25 years old or 30 or had a very short life expectancy? Was that because something ate them? Or I thought they ate stuff and they didn't know which mushroom was good and they got diseases and they died early.
Well, if you think about all the hazards they had, I mean, you were hunting dangerous animals, you were living in a dangerous environment. A lot of people died in accidents, a lot of people died in infancy, but people who were smart, there is evidence of people living a really long time, too. So on average, you're likely to die of dysentery when you're a baby, but if you can survive, then, you would live to a healthy old age.
Now, it says here you recommend giving blood once every 3 months. Is that right?
Well, I don't do that. Some of my friends do that because, sometimes their iron levels are kind of high. But I don't bother doing that because I'm a woman. So I don't have to worry about that.
Is that to recreate the fact that the cave people would get in a fight every now and again and lose blood? Unless you have hemochromatosis, which is the, too much iron in your blood, which is actually, it's a disease. You don't necessarily get it from eating iron-rich foods. It happens to be a genetic disease. So I could eat all the steak and liver and whatever I wanted to eat, and unless I'm predisposed for hemochromatosis, I'm not going to have too much iron in my blood. But I read that some people do it because the cave people, the paleo diet movement people say, well, they would have gotten in a fight and lost a bunch of blood.
I think if they had lost blood, they probably would have also, died of gangrene or something. But, what these, giving blood or, fasting sometimes, what it does is it stresses your body. And sometimes your body that'll boost your immune system. Like when I'm starting to get sick, I'll always fast. And there's a lot of studies that show that, that'll help you get over a cold quicker because it boosts your immune system. So it's basically purposefully stressing yourself to boost yourself.
Well, it's kind of like an animal. Like when your dog or your cat gets sick, they don't eat, right?
Yeah.
Right?
And that's instinctual.
That's instinctual. So you're saying that when we feel sick, like a cave person, well, they couldn't get up and get their food either. Or somebody could have. So when you're starting to get the flu or a cold or whatever, you stop eating.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, usually my appetite is pretty low anyway, so I just, I don't force myself to eat, and it usually, I mean, the colds I get these days, I hardly ever get them, and, they're really short.
And what's the last thing you've hunted for?
Well, I went to a hunting workshop because I'm going to try to get my first deer this year. I've been trying to, improve my marksmanship for that. But
with a gun or with a bow and arrow?
I think a gun is preferable because bow and arrow can get really messy, and if you're not accurate, you can really, waste your time. I mean, and I'd like to get a deer and not just shoot things for no reason.
So are you going to put some, you're going to paint your body and you're going to wear like a little loincloth and fur and walk on all fours?
If it gets me the deer, I will do that. So.
Right. I got to tell you, Melissa.
Now tell me she's not a character, and I mean that in a good way.
You're kind of a character. I got to.
Yeah.
You're kind of a character. Is it hard to? I mean, you can only go out with guys that are in your range area, your mental state. I mean, because you wouldn't just enjoy having a date and going to a nice restaurant. You couldn't eat anything. You wouldn't want to eat anything, would you?
Well, I went with my boyfriend to a nice restaurant last night, and I got. I mean, like most restaurants in New York City have great things. Like I got pork heart, and then I got some.
Wait a minute, you got pork heart?
Yeah, it was really good.
Pig heart.
Wasn't Mel Gibson in that?
Mel Gibson.
But it was cooked.
It was a cook. What restaurant? I've never seen pork heart on a menu.
I've seen it. It was a good one. But I still like Mad Max
better. This whole eating awful is very, Anthony Bourdain has really popularized it, thankfully.
Anthony Bourdain. Now, Christina had said something to say about him. Did she not?
Christina's on the show also.
Yeah.
Christina?
Hi.
What do you think of Anthony
I love
Bourdain?
Anthony Bourdain. He's such a badass.
He's so great.
He did a show today.
And why? You love
Because
him?
he's so hot, and he's such a badass, and he's just, smoking his cigarette and eating all kinds of crazy shit. Love him.
He's too smart aleck for me.
He is.
I don't like the smart aleck. He's not funny.
I like the attitude of eating what you want and what nourishes you, and not just eating things because it's, nice or good for the environment, You're eating things because they're awesome.
I swear to God, if I lived with you, this is what we would do. You and I would wear loincloths and fur and everything else. We'd go in the woods, and we wouldn't kill it. We'd kill it with our bare hands. We'd attack it with a rock. We'd get the deer, and we'd smash its brains, and then we'd rip it with our hands.
With our gnashing teeth.
God. Melissa, I'm getting hot just thinking about that.
And then what about later, Melissa? There's something involving a club.
And then we'd wear the animal's skin back to our apartment.
Huh? You have a cave apartment now?
Yeah, what's your apartment decorated like? You have a lot of rocks that you sit on? What do you sit on?
I don't have a lot of rocks. I do keep a lot of bones lying around. I mean, I like using bones a lot.
You have bones in the house?
I think that might go in the undateable category.
We just had a woman on that wrote a book called Undateable about certain things that you shouldn't have when people come over.
Deal breakers.
Yeah, people open my fridge and see canisters of blood and bones. I don't know, but
what is a canister of blood? Whose blood is it that's in there?
What type?
It's I like to make blood sausage, which is incredibly delicious. I mean, most people don't know it, but it's very popular in France. So that's what I use blood for.
Now, go ahead, Roddy. Go ahead.
Do you watch the show True Blood? Do you?
No, I haven't seen that.
Oh, okay, you should.
Okay, now, do you find that you have more body odor because you eat meat? Because I know people that are vegetarians and don't have much body odor, and meat eaters have more of a scent. And I think one of the things that happens is that, and it's more BO is what I'm saying. So do you use perfumes and stuff, or you are pretty much all natural the whole way around?
I mean, what happens is if you're eating meat and you're eating sugar and other crap, I'm sure those things react. And I mean, people are just blaming meat because, I mean, it just sounds nice to blame meat, but I don't have any body odor. I don't even need to wear deodorant. So. And, all the men I've dated say, I smell great, so...
Man, I got to tell you, what about do you live like a cave woman? Do you shave yourself, or are you au naturel that way also? Hair everywhere, all over your body.
I mean, I like to look good, so of course I would like it if it wasn't stylish to have, shaved legs, but it is, so I do shave my legs. And
Rodney is totally. Go ahead, Rodney. Tell her your feelings about women and hair. Tell them.
I like it. I like the au naturel better. I like it when a woman shaves her legs and her armpits, but I don't. I think the whole Brazilian thing is creepy.
Yeah.
And I think men that love the Brazilian thing, I think they've got a subconscious kind of weird bent.
Pedophilia. Yeah.
I think they're creepy. So
your boyfriend have a beard?
No, I mean, I've had boyfriends with beards, though. I think beards are good, but, it's not a requirement or anything.
How about just the little jazz brush? You like that? You know what I'm talking about? Right under the lower lip? The jazz brush?
Jazz brush.
I hear a lot of women like that.
Yeah. Go to huntgatherlove.com.
Big Ted Nugent fan, are you? Ted Nugent fan?
You like Ted Nugent?
Yeah, I like him a lot.
Yeah. I find him to be a dangerous person, and I think he doesn't mind the suffering of the animal. I got to be honest with you. I mean, I hunt, but I think there's something wrong with him, in my estimation.
Yeah, I mean, most hunters that I really respect, though, they want to kill the animal with one shot. And so I'm not sure if, anyone who doesn't want to do that, I think, is a little barbaric. I mean, your goal should always be one shot.
You'd love my son. My son is a gunsmith. Can you imagine?
Wow.
A master gunsmith. So if you met my son, we're worried about him, but if you met him, you would say, wow, and you would be attracted to what he's chosen to do in life.
Yeah, I think, a lot of women are, afraid of men and guns because, they're not in touch with their natural being, I think the vilification of meat is very similar to the vilification of sex, That's two things women are kind of, bad about and afraid of.
Women vilify sex is what you're saying.
Yeah, and meat. So, because
it goes hand in hand, doesn't it? Sex and meat. Yeah, it does. It goes. So you are more subservient to your man because you live more like these cave people.
I think that's a huge myth, and I've read a lot of anthropology texts, and, women, actually they were usually very egalitarian in these societies, and, there's the pygmies, the men help take care of the children a lot more than, even men, in New York City do.
So you like the shorter guys. You like the shorter.
I'd have been the king of the pygmy tribe.
Yeah. I would have
been the main guy.
I would have ruled the pygmies.
The main pygmy guy. Let me tell you what's so weird about men today, Melissa. I was playing golf yesterday, and so my buddy and I are at this, obviously a country club. We had a golf cart, and we looked over this cliff, and we saw all of these golf balls that people had hit down into this deep ravine. We went down into the barranca, whatever you want to call it, and we gathered, 20 or 30 golf balls, and we were fighting with the bushes and everything else. And when we got back up, we looked at each other and said, "Wow, that was like natural." You know what I mean? It's weird. We never do anything natural. And for that one stupid moment of being down there, of course, I got poison oak everywhere now, but the world is really ruined by modernization, don't you think?
Yeah, I think it's really hard to live in a way that's natural for humans. Most of us work in offices where we get no sunlight, for example, and suffer from vitamin D deficiency. And, it sucks to be in the dark all day anyway.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, she eats like her ancestors do. Go to huntgatherlove.com, Melissa McEwen. Yeah.
Huntgatherlove.com.
It says here, you'd be great in Playboy. I'd love to have a herd of cattle. Guys would go nuts for you. In those Playboy, with your likes and your dislikes. Why don't you just move away to a farm somewhere? Why do you even stay in the city?
Well, I'd like to make enough money to buy my own farm, so that's what I'm working on.
All right. Okay. Build your own hut. All right. That's cool. Have you ever gone out with a guy and he couldn't take your lifestyle?
No. Most guys are pretty okay, even though, like, my boyfriend's not interested in hunting or anything. That's kind of disappointing.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
You ought to come to bed with a knife one day and just hold it to his throat. Huh?
I don't think he'd like that.
Really? I'd love it. I'd like you to cut me just a little bit, you know, with the blood kind of dripping down. Yeah,
have you ever done that?
Over. Yeah.
That's what they do on True Blood.
Thank you, Melissa. Melissa McEwen, huntgatherlove.com. Thanks so very much.
All right, thanks for being on.
Lives like the ancestors.
I liked her.
I loved her. I didn't like her. I loved her. You hear that, Christina? Sex and meat. Huh? She left the room.
Sex and meat. I got it. Nope. Sounds hot.
That's how we're going to end the show. Sex and meat. Nope.
Sex and meat.
All right. We'll do this tomorrow morning at Howard 101. See you later.